Good evening and welcome to tonight's Boise State Esports broadcast. I'm your host, Jacob Jim Mountain Palmer, and tonight we have two very exciting games for you. The first is the NACE Rocket League Tournament, Day 2, as the Broncos continue on their journey in this Rocket League Tournament. And after that match against Wholesale University, we will go up into Hearthstone versus UCLA. So two great games, two great matches, and two great hosts and casters, because I am joined by Michael Fisher, who is a great person to have alone in these broadcasts. Fish, how are you doing tonight? It's going to be pretty interesting to see only one Rocket League game.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy, but after yesterday's Rocket League bonanza, I am definitely okay with the limited Rocket League, but it's still going to be a lot of fun. Full Sail University, a team I definitely recognize, someone we've heard a lot of, so it should be a lot of fun, as you mentioned, in Day 2 of this NACE Rocket League. And then, as you mentioned, Hearthstone coming up after that, so it's still a jam-packed day, Jim Mountain, even if there's only one Rocket League match.
Yeah, and certainly with the Broncos playing, you can see Full Sail University versus the Broncos in the Skill Shot College Varsity Tournament for Rocket League. And Fish, what are you expecting for this round based on the Broncos' previous performances?
I'm definitely expecting Boise State to have a very, very good performance here. I'm definitely very excited to see what the Broncos are going to want to do. I am curious which team is coming out for Boise State, because I know we have a couple of teams. I don't know if it's the same team we saw on Day 1 or a different team, so that always makes it a bit tricky. They're both very talented teams, but they do play a bit different, so it's always hard to preview what's coming up when you don't quite know what team it is, but both of them are very great. I'm sure either way it's going to be a fun match for Boise State. So we have actually consolidated the roster for this tournament, so that means we might see some combinations. I know we're not used to seeing. The names should all be familiar, but maybe you'll see something like Waiton and Tacky doing Baynock or something like that. So it is going to be, a very interesting combination. Could have Cosmo, Ace, and LC Coral, one of the old school teams, a team that I remember briefly when I started casting as well, being a team, and that's looking like it is who it's going to be today. We see LC Coral and Ace Pocket. There's Cosmo Buster. So it is going to be the old school guys. We hop right into the game. Boise State off the 50-50 ball. Down in the corner, the real Seb rushing down, tries to put it up for his teammate. Shot just going to be weakly hit. Unfortunately, Masta did not quite get to touch. He wanted on it.
Yeah, we are looking at a very exciting game thus far. The real Seb is going to get the first score.
Yeah, the real Seb puts it in the back there, and really just a crazy shot. Oh, off the bounce and a rebound, unfortunately. I think that might have been a technical own goal for Boise State, though I don't know if Rocket League does credit that. But the Broncos now trailing 1-0 here. Cosmo Buster and the real Seb off the 50-50, goes up into the corner. LC Cora does a great job of taking that one away. Jenga in the corner. Looks like Ace Pocket's going to put a centering up. Cosmo Buster tries to put a shot on goal, but the real Seb doing a great job. LC Cora not quite able to corral that one. Cosmo Buster falling back and pushing down in the corner. Shot on goal, turned away by Jenga. Great job on that one. Real Seb down in the corner. Try and center it up. Ace Pocket not quite able to get that one as he's now in the corner there. Up, Cosmo Buster steals it away on the 50. The real Seb is there. Doesn't play it very well, and Cosmo Buster's going to punish him with the goal and the equalizer. The real Seb misplaying it down in the corner right about there. This sets up Cosmo Buster for a clean shot and a tie game. Boise State trying now to see if they can get the advantage there after that first goal. Masta gonna just quite win the 50-50. LC Kuro trying to carry it down in the corner. Jenga knocking him off the ball. The real Seb gonna put a nice shot across. Ace Pocket able to stop that one. A miss. Ace Pocket though can't quite capitalize. Jenga there, ball still in front of the net. The real Seb forced to make a huge save. Cosmo Buster centers it up. LC Kuro's shot hits the post, and Ace Pocket just a bit late on that rotation. Cosmo Buster though gonna keep it alive. Centers it back. The real Seb pushes it over. LC Kuro disrupts that. Good job by Ace Pocket clearing it down all the way into the corner. Double commit by Full Sail. See if Boise State can punish Ace Pocket to Cosmo Buster. Ace Pocket's there, and he's going to put it in the back of the net. What a team play by Boise State, as you can see here. The give and go. Ace Pocket to Cosmo Buster. Basket Ace Pocket. Jenga can't make the save, and it's 2-1. Boise State now. Great job by the Broncos holding that side control for a very long time. LC Crow playing it over to Ace Pocket, tried to cheat it out. There's nobody back for Full Sail, but nobody up for Boise State, both getting boost. Masta going to misplay that one. We're going to see the real Seb push it off the wall. Jenga double commits as well. Boise State punished the last one. Can they do it here? Cosmo Buster goes up for a great job, though, by the real Seb. Demo comes out on the goalie. A slight double commit by Boise State, and LC Crow not quite able to capitalize it. Boise State now. Cosmo Buster going to put it in the back of the net, though, coming out of nowhere. We've talked about the rotational strength of Boise State, and it shows right there. Jenga gets the clear, and here comes Cosmo Buster right in the back of the net to make it 3-1. Boise State now with 3 straight goals as the Broncos have the 3-1 lead with 3 minutes left. We're going to see LC Coro now push it up. Ace Pocket in the corner. Can't quite get enough air on that one, but Full Sail also missed on it. Masta able to carry that one. Looks like Cosmo Buster going to disrupt him just a little bit. Ball around in the corner, bouncing in front of the Full Sail net. Good job by the real Seb clearing that one away. Ace Pocket now going to push it back. Looks like LC Coro and Cosmo Buster are there. Unfortunately, the ball is going to reset. Cosmo Buster going to clear it up in the corner. Going to carry it himself. Puts a shot on goal. Huge save from Jenga to stop that one. Ace Pocket can't quite corral it. Jenga pushing it down in the corner. Cosmo Buster has help. LC Coral rotates into the goal. The real Seb's going to put a shot on well to the right. LC Coral able to go over to grab that one. Able to carry his dribble as well right off of Masta. Jenga misplaces. It's an opportunity for Boise State. Soft shot on goal by Cosmo Buster. Turned away by the real Seb. Ace Pocket, though, wants to follow it up. Puts it in the corner. Cosmo Buster waiting there. You see LC Coro. That's an open net, but Ace Pocket says, that's my ball. Steals it away from his teammate. And Boise State with their 4th straight goal. You see LC Coro was there, but Ace Pocket said, who needs LC Coro when I can finish the job myself? Boise State, after a slow start, 4 straight goals in the last 3 minutes, and Boise State now with a 4-1 lead here in Game 1 of this NACE Rocket League Day 2 action. The real Seb shot goes well above the Broncos net. Cosmo Buster able to clear it down. Ace Pocket waiting there. Maybe a big indication he had just pulled off, but the demo comes out. Cosmo Buster over pursues on the ball. Jenga able to get it. Ace Pocket keeps it alive. LC Coro sees his opportunity, comes flying in. Good job by Masta, able to stop that one. Cosmo Buster going to set it up off the wall for Ace Pocket, just behind that one, unfortunately. And Boise State going to have to fall back. The real 7 Cosmo battling for that one. LC Coro elevates, just able to steal it away. And Ace Pocket now in the corner. Great job by Masta stealing that one. Just hits the crossbar. Ball in front of the net. Boise State now trying to get a clear. LC Coro going to miss. Here comes the real Seb. He's going to miss. Very hard to hit this ball, but Masta is going to put it in the back of the net. The crossbar this time assisting. You can see there, LC Coro missed. Ace Pocket and Cosmo Buster double committed for the ball. And eventually Masta is going to put it in the back of the net. So Boise State now still holding on to a 4-2 lead with 1:18 left on the clock here in Game 1. 50-50 bounces off the wall. Ace Pocket and Cosmo want to follow it up. Huge save by Jenga. Great job. He's done an excellent job on some of these huge saves for Full Sail to keep them in the game. Ace Pocket not able to corral that one. The real Seb puts it down in the corner. Cosmo plays it around him, gets his full boost stolen. Jenga and Ace Pocket both going to miss on that one, but Cosmo just pulls it away from Mastamed with 1 minute left on the clock. Broncos up 2. Cosmo Buster going to put it down. LC Coro elevates, just misses on the ball. Boise State had the 5th goal in their sights, but now they've got to fall back. The real Seb's going to try and play his own rebound. Great job by Cosmo Buster. Open net, but the real Seb able to corral that one. A demo goes out, but he loses the ball. Ace Pocket puts it in for the hat trick, and that's when you don't want to get a demo. You'll see it here. He actually demos LC Coral, but it loses the ball, and that's how Ace Pocket able to capitalize. Otherwise, Ace Pocket out of position.
Yeah, I mean, they're flying downhill at these things. Anything that's going to be their end of the field, somebody is making an attack, trying to just get a shot. Cosmo Buster, nice high one right there. Now, can he follow it up himself? Of course he can, because that's what he does. Why pass to a teammate when you can pass off the backboard yourself?
Yeah, great job. Double commit and a miss by Full Sail. Cosmo Buster says, thank you very much for the open net.
Yeah, he made that look easy. I like that explosion. I realize that it's luminaries, but they look like burnt marshmallows to me.
You know, I can see the burnt marshmallows. Always wondered what they were, but it doesn't matter. As soon as you see them go off, you know Cosmo Buster scored again. Boise State now trying to hold onto a 6-2 lead in the final seconds. Demo onto real Seb might stop any sort of chance Full Sail had, and the Broncos might be going for an extra goal. Cosmobuster puts it up. LC Crow can't quite get it off the rebound there. Jenga able to clear it away. 10 seconds left. Ace Pocket in the corner, sets it up for Cosmobuster, but the real Seb was there, pushes it all the way down into the corner. Time ticking down on what will be a Bronco win. We'll see if LC Crow lets it touch the ground. He tries to actually keep it alive. Looks like the Broncos might have another goal up their sleeve. Cosmobuster puts it up to his teammates, but they're next to each other, so Boise State wins.
Well, this is really interesting, and I love that that they're doing a good job kind of making that happen. So, Fish, question for you: as we're watching them kind of push through to that 6 lead, when they got the first goal, was there anything that popped into your head like, ooh, this might be a tougher match? It looked to me like the Broncos just followed up, just kept firing balls down at that end, and just let Full Sail make mistakes.
Yeah, that's exactly what Boise State did. They just let Full Sail make mistakes, and they capitalized on those mistakes. We've seen in the past teams making triple commits on saves and ended up turning that into a goal. So yeah, Boise State just let Full Sail make mistakes, capitalized on those, and we talked about it at the start where how this is a mishmash of the Boise State teams, and this might be one of the original squads with LC, Coro, Ace Pocket, and Cosmobuster, but that does mean sometimes in the first couple seconds it just takes some feeling out. Maybe you have a different word or a different slang for the back net, and maybe that first goal was just the result of them getting together, comforting down a little bit, settling down, and after that they absolutely turned it on. They
did turn it on. It's about just what to do next. What's the next shot? What's the next position? What's the next rotation? And if the other team's going to make mistakes, then they're going to give you the chance to do that. All right, we're going to jump back into the game here. And this is a really exciting one. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I am glad to see that the Boise State passing that we know so much from the team Cosmobusters on has not gone down. They've had some very crisp passing in this one as the 50-50 goes down there. You saw it. Ace Pocket was waiting. Huge intercept by Jenga, though, forcing LC Coro to make a great save on the ball. Ball in front of the Broncos net. Going to be a great job there by Cosmobuster, playing it off his own backboard. LC Coro sees it, just can't quite capitalize. Ace Pocket, though, tries to put it down. Intercepted by Jenga. Cosmobuster and Jenga now in the corner. We'll see what's going to happen. Jenga going to lose the ball. No full boost taken as well. LC Coro forced to make a very easy save in the corner. Jenga going to keep the pressure on. Slight double commit there from Boise State. And Ace Pocket and Cosmobuster go for that one. LC Coro in the corner going to play it off the wall. And Boise State now trying to hold on.
Nice defense so far from the Broncos. They are going to be looking to try to get their own clear here. Cosmobuster credited with another save. He's going to go into the corner. AFC Coro now trying to find his own save as two members of Full Sail try to fight over it. And then in comes another one to keep the side control going. There is much better side control going on this round from Full Sail. The Broncos yet to find a clear to try to get some sort of offensive push.
Well, there's that clear. Cosmobuster down to LC Coro, just right of the goal. Ball careening into the corner. The real Seb and Cosmobuster battling over it. Jenga able to get the clear. Ace Pocket sees his opportunity. Had to rush just a little bit. They're going to back pass it there to LC Coro. Bit of a miss. Jenga's going to steal that one away. Boise State, a little rusty in these early minutes in these first couple games.
Yeah, especially looking back at the score that they had, 2-6. This doesn't look necessarily like a team that was able to get 6 goals last round, but maybe it just is a matter of warming up. And Ace Pocket puts one on the goal. A save is going to come out from Full Sail, but Boise State wants to try to keep it alive. The pass over to Ace Pocket, now back over to Cosmobuster, who misses in midair. That might allow Full Sail for a clear, but no, the Broncos are too fast. Another shot right above the goal is going to miss. Here comes the clear out from Full Sail. LC Coro stops that right in its tracks, and the ball stays in the middle of the field.
Yeah, Mastema going to put it down in the corner. Cosmobuster able to make a huge save. LC Coro, not sure how he got that demo, but he'll take it. Ace Pocket can't quite corral. LC Coro's got this one. There's the real Seb, fresh off the respawn. Going to lose that full corner boost, though. Looks like Ace Pocket wants to center it up. Cosmobuster, the ball didn't go as fast as he was hoping for. Looks like Jenga now going to try and deal it down. Cosmobuster able to steal it away. LC Coro racing in. Right now this ball's spending a lot of time near midfield.
Spending a lot of time, but it's going to go in the goal right there on an open goal as well. Actually think there might have been one member of Full Sail, but the ball just went right over him.
Yeah, great job by Cosmobuster recognizing they were out of position on that one.
Well, the Broncos now have a little bit of a lead on this one. 50-50 is going to head over to the side where Ace Pocket is going to go up and pass it over to LC Crow. The angle's just a little bit funny, but it's right above the goal. Look out for a follow-up coming here from Costbuster. Off to the left side, Ace Pocket is right there. A demo onto Full Sail, and LC Crow is going to find the second goal for the Broncos.
Yeah, great job there. The demo coming out from Cosmobuster takes out Mastema, and just LC Carl puts it in the back of the net. Boise State now with the 2-0 lead. We'll see if they can continue to build on this one. The second half of these games have been all Boise State so far. LC Carl wins the 50-50, going to go up on it. Mastema forced to make a huge save there, but Cosmobuster going to keep it alive. Ace Pocket not going to use that full boost, but who needs it? Cosmobuster assures it goes in. And Boise State's up 3.
Yeah, now I might need to just see this one more time. You see Jenga right there, but didn't necessarily, might have been trying to reverse into that shot there, but way too slow. The Broncos are going to find that goal right there.
Yeah, I think maybe he thought that shot was actually going to miss, so he didn't predict a Cosmobuster finish there. 50-50 though. The real Seb actually, he's just going to put it home. Boise State maybe caught, as you see, Ace Pocket was out getting boost with only one man left in the goal. That'll happen on kickoffs.
Yeah, sometimes those goals off the 50-50 can just be a little bit wonky, but Boise State, I wouldn't say they have too much to worry about. You know, I do have to say, you said a little bit earlier, Fish, about you saw the member from Full Sail maybe thinking that shot might have missed. You never want to think that with Cosmobuster, Ace Pocket, and LC Crow, because these three are just so accurate. I say that right as Cosmobuster flies past the ball off into the corner, but it's not going to make that much of a difference because the side control still comes through for Boise State. Cosmobuster now off the wall toward the left corner. Now look out for Ace Pocket coming in with the rotation, trying to set it up. The ball is going to be pushed back towards the side of the field. Look out though, here comes Ace Pocket, shot on goal, but it's going to be saved by the real Seb.
Yeah, they're going to turn into a second goal for the real Seb as well. As you can see, he's just going to dribble it all the way down the field and put it in the back of the net.
Yeah, sometimes these counterattacks can really catch a team off guard, especially if they push up too far with no defense.
Now, maybe I cast or curse Boise State's had the second half have been all of them, but Full Sail with 2 goals in the last minute, and they've got it to a 1-goal game, 50-50. Bouncing back and forth there, double commit by Full Sail. The real Seb able to get that one. Masterma coming back for that pass. Cosmobuster able to beat him off the wall. The real Seb going for a hat trick here. Going to put a shot on the goal, forced to be taken off. But a demo comes out, leaving LC Crows the one man to beat a huge save with a minute left to keep the Broncos with a 1-goal lead. Masterma's going to keep the pressure on. Demo's going to go out on both sides, leaving it a 2v2 for now as Ace Pocket has respawned. LC Crow going to play it around a couple, but Masterma's going to stop him. And right now there's 30 seconds left for a Full Sail tie.
Yeah, hopefully they can fly right up to that tie, looking for the equalizer with 30 seconds remaining. Broncos still have nice side control right off the left post for Costbuster. In comes Ace Pocket to keep the play going. Flips it right over 2 members of Full Sail University. Real Sep tries to get the clear, but Costbuster is going to get the shot on goal right back towards them. The Broncos are so good with their counterplay, but now here it all comes down to this moment. 10 seconds left. Can Full Sail for the equalizer? With every second that counts down, the Broncos might be looking at another victory here. 1 second left. The ball needs to touch the ground, or maybe another goal. Oh, not quite a goal, but still a great victory for the Broncos against Full Sail.
Yeah, you are watching Boise State versus Full Sail. This actually was best of 3, so that is Boise State win right there. Coming down to the wire, I think if they had a couple more seconds, they actually would have made it 4-2, but great job there by Boise State. Great job of the original squad, as we've talked about, of Ace Pocket, LC Coral, and Cosmo Buster coming away with that best of 3 victory. It is kind of crazy sometimes, Jim Mountain. These best of 3s go by so quickly.
Oh yeah, especially when it used to be when we were starting out, it was multiple games a night, best of 7s. So it could go on for a while. So it feels a little bit surreal with this match only being best of 3. However, that isn't all the action we have for tonight. We might just want to stay tuned because we could have more games coming our way for Rocket League.
Coming in. All right, let me just tell you what happened here. First of all, Full Sail, we've competed against an awful lot over our time in NACE. They're great competitor grade school. We wrapped this assignment up pretty quick. Very grateful. It was a nice back and forth, especially that second game. Could have gone either way. So we just said, hey, you guys, you want to play a couple more games for the broadcast? They said yes. So we've got a surprise for you. This happens to be not Fish's, but my favorite mode. And if it goes well, maybe we can get one more mode on the screen here. Yeah, we're in a good spot here. So let's see if these guys are about ready to go with the next game. Looks to be pretty. Oh goodness, they started without us. Hold on just a second. We'll get them in there. Here we go.
Alrighty then, Fish. Yeah, we are going in and playing some hockey right now. You in the mood for some hockey, Fish?
It's getting towards summertime, and Ace Pocket has a feeling it's hockey time as the ice starts to melt. Crazy thing about this puck, it doesn't fly as well as the ball does, so you're not going to see many aerial plays, but Ace Pocket just sort of powers it into the goal.
Now, I do want to say hello and hi to everyone joining us in the Twitch thread, including someone who says they're the president of Hofstra University's Esports Club. Very impressed by the production quality they see in Boise State. We like Solid Sheen, and it's great to have him here watching us. And everyone else in Twitch chat, welcome. We hope you enjoy this game in progress, where the Broncos might score another goal, but it just goes off the crossbar. The puck now to Ace Pocket with the pass to LC Kuro, but in comes the real Seb, trying to get the clear. Is also going to demo Ace Pocket, making the Broncos' job just a little bit harder.
Yeah, Boise State now, they're going to keep it up, though. The real Seb loses that one, though, unfortunately not able to get it in the air. Jenga tried to jump on top of the puck. Not sure what he was going for there, but it's going to fly all the way down to the Broncos' corner. Cosmo Buster going to play it around one. Can he make it two? No, he cannot as the demo comes out. Puck goes skirting back to the other side as the real Seb and Ace Pocket chase it down. Real Seb now going to try and put it up in the air, but Cosmo Buster and Ace Pocket there. It's in front of the net. Great job by LC Core to disrupt that one as Cosmo Buster just going to push it away.
And now with that clear, Boise State looking to try to find another goal against full scale. But you see a clear is going to be coming up. Real Seb contests there, doesn't get the better of it, and the ball stays on the blue side of the field. Ace Pocket now pushes it toward the corner. Up the wall, is going to center it. It's right in front of the goal. But LC Crow didn't quite like the look of that, was going to wait for just a little bit longer.
Yeah, Massimo nearly dribbles that one into the back of the net. Cosmo Buster forced to make a huge save. The real Seb going to go up for it. Cosmo Buster disrupts him there. LC Core now going to have possession, taking it into the blue side.
Now LC Kuro gets a great demo onto Mastema. That might allow the Broncos to try to play for the goal here, but a great save there by Mastema. As soon as he respawns, kept the shot on goal from coming through. Now the real Seb is going to play it up the side, try to center it, runs into Ace Pocket, and now it is going to be cleared once again by Cosbuster. No, in comes Mastema. Full sale might not quite be done here.
Yeah, unfortunately for them, Jenga's going to miss on it, bounce right over the real Seb. Jenga's momentum actually going to carry it back towards his own net, forces Mastema to make a huge save. LC Kuro gets demo to Cosmo Buster, trying to bully it in. I think that's an own goal, but it's going to count for Boise State.
Well, I wouldn't quite say it's completely an own goal, because look at the angle right here. I mean, yeah, he was trying to rush in there and go under it, but at that point, the puck still had momentum. It was going in there. At that point, it was really more of an afterthought in my mind whether it was an old go or not. Here comes LC Kuro, clearing it toward Full Sail's territory. Ace Pocket now centering it up for Cosbuster off to the side. Broncos not quite finding the shot they want yet, but I'm sure they can find it in just a little bit longer.
Great job there by Cosbuster, able to disrupt that one. Ball still going to go towards the net. Huge save by LC Koro there in the 5-hole. He's able to push that one away. LC Koro now going to put it down into the corner. The real Seb off on the boards there. Going to try and play it off the wall. Dribbles it over one. Huge stop, though, in the air by Ace Pocket. Mastema going to try and put a shot on goal. It's defended.
Now the ball goes way up high in the air. That is some high sticking if I have ever seen it off the wall. Ace Pocket comes in, is going to try to play it around the corner. Mastema comes right in there to steal it away from him. And now off into the corner again. LC Crow trying to keep the momentum of the puck from not going into the goal. Costbuster up on the wall is going to try to pass it. There he gets it over to LC Crow, but Mastema comes right in there. And real Seb with some roughing onto LC Crow. This definitely isn't is in the most sportsmanlike game I have seen thus far, Fish.
No, it's very back and forth. Is Jenga going to help out? Cosmobuster and Ace Pocket both next to the puck the whole time. That might cost Boise State a follow-up in the rotation. Ace Pocket now trying to play it off the boards. Vastava there to stop that. Cosmobuster going to steal it away. LC Curl can't quite get it as the puck goes over the blue line. And Ariel Seb's now carrying it towards the goal. Great job by Ace Pocket, though, and I think the puck may be a little bit too fast for him.
Just a little bit too fast, heading towards the goal. Jenga with the save there is going to keep Full Sail alive, but they need to try to find a goal right now because there is only 40 seconds left. Right now, Jenga comes right in there, is going to try to find the clear. LC Koro is going to allow a Full Sail power play to come through here for the next 2 seconds, and now Boise State is back at full strength.
Now Boise State might find their third goal there. LC Coral, that puck so hard to corral sometime. Check comes out onto the real Seb. He's going to get right back in the action, though. Push it right down towards the blue line. Cosmobuster going to intercept it. Massima, he might be all alone if he can corral this puck. Great job by Cosmobuster catching up from behind and skating him down. 3 seconds left. Ace Pocket going to push it up off the boards there. Keeps it alive for now. Let's see if LC Crow can do it. He's going to keep it alive. Ace Pocket, they're going to let it hit the ice. At Boise State, they're going to win in hockey too. 2-0 win there over Full Sail.
As you can see here, Full Sail University has quite the interesting mascot, Fish. Their mascot is a DC-3 airplane, which I gotta say, that's a very interesting choice of mascot, being more of a machine than an animal. You know, so many mascots are animals or maybe warriors or human fighters. I haven't necessarily seen an inanimate mascot, but I kind of like it. Airplanes are cool.
You know, huge airplane knowledge, shout out to you, Jim Mountain, but I'm still confused. Full Sail, I was 100% expecting a ship. Just, you know, it makes logical sense to me. Full Sail. So, hey, I guess the airplane, there's got to be a backstory behind it, because when you call me your Full Sail, I'm expecting a ship with the sail, not an airplane. Yeah.
Now that I think about it, there are plenty of ships that could be used for a mascot. You could have a battleship, or you could have a submarine, or maybe even an ironclad. Those were pretty cool. Like the ironclad defense. You could make a statement with that. But an even bigger statement is we are playing Drop Shot, Fish. My favorite mode to see. This is going to be exciting.
This is going to be a lot of fun here. This is... Some of the crazy modes in Rocket League just blow you away. It looks like Cosmobuster there trying to get that one. Unfortunately, not quite able to score on that. You're going to have to run me through the rules here real quick, Jim Mountain. It's been a little bit since I played this game mode.
Well, as you can see, we are here on the grid, and as that ball touches the ground, it is going to light up different hexagons on the floor. You can see already some orange ones lit up. So once the ball hits the ground once, the part of the floor lights up. If it hits a part of the ground that is already lit up, then that floor falls away. And then that allows the ball to be scored into that hole. So like right there, it's going to be hit down again into the floor. And as this game goes on, more and more of the field is going to be opening into danger zones for these teams.
Thank you very much for
like
that.
Like right there!
Yes! And it's the rumble as well, so it has some of those crazy power-ups, as you can see, using the hook there, just dragging the ball into the net.
Now, the key thing to remember here is that the floor only lights up if it's a shot from the other team, so you'll see the ball changing colors, and that'll signify which member of which team hit it last, and that determines whether the floor opens up, if it's blue or orange. Right now, we see a little bit of each floor already lit up, but nothing opened up for a goal yet. LC Crow's gonna get the demo onto Jenga. A great shot right there is gonna light up more of the blue section as Massima finds a demo of his own. Boise State right now gotta feel pretty good that they're getting a lot more Full Sail, and look at that grapple right there is gonna be used to light up just a little bit more of Boise State's field.
Ball's going to be frozen there in midair. Ace Pocket doing a great job of corralling that one. Boise State needs to get over there. Happened a huge grapple, but LC Coro able to push that one away. He's now down in the corner there. Cosmobuster going to punch it home to tie the game.
Let's take a look at that right there. You can see Cosmobuster came right in, not only getting one shot, but the redirect after the floor fell down was going to allow Full Sail to equalize the game right there. 3 minutes, 14 seconds left as 50-50 comes out right on to the orange side of the field, but it isn't going to count because remember, it all depends on which team hit it last. That is certainly going to count right there. It's a good portion of Full Sail's field lights up.
Yeah, right now Boise State doing a great job bouncing towards their half. Going to light up just a small portion of that. El Coro, though, going to grab it with his spikes, keep it going. Unfortunately, the rope going to be broken there. The real Seb, ball bouncing towards his side. He's able to push it away right towards the Broncos side, light up even more of that. Full Sail, though, still trying to get an opening in that floor. Ball intercepted near midfield by the real Seb. Prevents anything else from lighting up as Cosmo Buster gonna hit it off the wall. Combination of the rope and the punch. Ace Pocket has opened up a small portion of the field for Boise State as the freeze comes out.
All these power-ups certainly make the game a lot more interesting to watch. You can see here 2 minutes 20 seconds left, a little bit under. Jenga is going to try to grind the ball again. It gets frozen and pulled back towards Boise State side. Now Castle Buster, the ball is blue and as it hits the ground, that allows a lot of it to fall down. Boise State now has a good portion of their field open for scoring. In comes the real Seb. Ball might hit the ground again. A great save there from LC Crow is going to keep Boise State's field from getting even worse. Now Boise State finally manages to push it back over to Full Sail side. Ball doesn't light up any of the ground there because it was blue. Boise State looking to change that. And a goal right there as the ball rolls right into the bottomless pit.
Yeah, great use of the freeze there. Cosmo Buster going to drag himself right to it and launch it in the perfect angle to put it in the open floor. Boise State.
Alrighty. Oh, you
go ahead. All right, I'll take it. Take it. Boise State has the 2-1 lead here. Trying to open up more of that floor. They do have a huge section, it looks like, still open on their end. LC Carl trying to do what he can. Great job there by Ace Pocket to open up a huge portion in the middle there. Also going to open up a corner. Boise State doing a good job, but they've got to be careful. That huge section of their terrain still open for a potential goal. Cosmos are going to try and drag it. Another member trying to keep it alive. Punch, though, into the other side and right into the open hole.
At the start of the season, I want to give a little bit of trivia. At the start of the season, I like that right there. That boxing glove is going to push it right in to Boise State's field and give Full Sail the equalizer. Anyway, I want to say the bit of trivia, Fish. At the start of this season, 3 of Boise State's players were top ranked for drop shot. So this is definitely a game that they excel in. I would say they're skilled enough to go up against the Master Control program.
Yeah, Boise State, even though they are top ranked, Full Sail doing a great job right now tying this game with a minute left. There is a couple of openings and a lot of lit up floor on the Full Sail side, so they have to be very careful. Good job by Cosmo Buster opening up even more. Gonna try and drag the ball down, but I think him and LC Curl used that power up at the same time. But they're gonna keep their floor nice and clean as Full Sail has to be very careful, but they're now gonna put it all the way down to the Bronco end and open spot.
What's so interesting is how this game can really, unlike the traditional mode, become so close in its scoring because the team that didn't score, the team damage to the arena carries over from each goal. The team that got scored on gets their field reset. The team that just scored, their field doesn't get reset. So it really encourages these sorts of comeback mechanics right now. At Tornado is going to allow Boise State to have a huge section of their field lit up. There's already some that's open for a goal. This could be it. Trying to find the winning shot. LC Kuro needs to keep the ball in the air, push back over to the back of the field, and we are going into overtime, Fish. And a lot of each player's field is lit up. Opportunities for goals everywhere.
Yes, it is right now. Massima controlling it right above an open portion of Boise State. Ace Pocket gonna unfortunately lose that touch out. That's gonna open up a huge section of the Boise State side. They have to be very, very careful right now. Jenga with the Tornado trying to drive it home, and the ball just bounces in. Boise State, it's just so hard to defend such a large open field of turf.
Yeah, once they got Full Sail's field wide open like that, it was really only a matter of time before the ball was going to drop through and give Boise State another victory. You have been watching not only the NACE Rocket League tournament between Boise State and Full Sail University, but you've also seen a couple of fun games as well, as we've taken a trip to the hockey rink, a trip to the grid, and now back here to the Boise State esports broadcast. That was really fun to watch, Fish.
Yeah, that was absolutely wild. It just blows my mind all the crazy things that Rocket League's been able to do with soccer cars. You're like, okay, all right, we put them on a soccer field. That's cool enough. And then they're like, hold on, let me show you something even more wild. And that's what we just saw in Drop Shot right there with the power-ups as well. Just crazy game modes. I will say my favorite part, in a game mode like that, the ball touched the ground almost immediately when it expired. And we've seen them in normal modes carry it for like 2 minutes before we head overtime. It's just kind of funny and ironic to me.
Well, and it really plays to Boise State's strength even more because Drop Shot even more can rely a lot on juggling the ball and keeping it in the air, at least when it's on your side of the field. And Boise State already excels in that so well, so it's no surprise to me that they were able to pull out the victory in that. Now we are going to be going into the player of the game. Fish, do you have any predictions as we pull up the graphic?
You know, I'd have to go with Cosmo Buster. I know in our best of 3 in the Nace game that we played that Boise State won 2-0, he was all over the place, so I would have to give it to Cosmo Buster.
Well, and looking right there, Cosmo Buster pulling out the victory for Boise State, being the player of the game. And, you know, I got to say, Fish, not only is his skill on display, but his positive attitude. Cosmo Buster, one of those players where it always seems like he has a smile on his face.
Hey, you know what? It's always easier, I'll say, to have a smile on your face when you can score just rippers right like that into the goal. So goals just make it a lot easier to smile.
Yeah, it does. You know, I wish I could smile more when I'm playing competitively. Let's just put it that way, Fish. But yeah, Cosmo Buster, and I gotta say, Bannock's another one of those players that really just always seems to have a smile on his face when the camera's on him. And with goals like that, certainly a reason to smile, but just creates over a really positive aura for Boise State University's Rocket League team.
Now, the Rocket League team, very positive. And hey, you know what also helps? Just a full sweep of Full Sail. They win 2-0 in the Nace series, which was a best of 3, and then we had some fun with Snow Day, and then Drop Shot, and Boise State won those as well. So when you go 4-0, also makes for a great time, but as you can see, Cosmo Buster, a huge reason why some of these goals he had, just incredible. Like right there, that's from midfield, and he just drives home.
Now, Cosmo Buster, your ICCU player of the game, brought to you by Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes a great player makes a team very successful, just like Idaho Central's helping members achieve financial success. Cosmo Buster is your Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game for tonight, April 22nd. Alrighty, and that's going to be doing it for the Rocket League tonight. However, we are not done for tonight because we do have a top 5 plays of the game coming to you from all the games you just witnessed. And after that, we will take a short break and be back to you with some Hearthstone versus UCLA. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. For now, enjoy these top 5 plays of the game. Fish, overall thoughts of the game.
Yeah, just really good job by Boise State. Really good job by this team. One of the original teams, as we've talked about, to put there's some great highlights for this top 5.
Brought to you by the Idaho Army National Guard.
Great job by Cosmo Buster. Open net, but the Real Seb able to corral that one. A demo goes out, but he loses the ball. Ace Pocket puts it in for the hat trick. And that's when you don't want to get a demo. You'll see it here. He actually demos LC Coral, but it loses the ball. And that's how Ace Pocket able to capitalize. Otherwise, Ace Pocket out. And up, Ace Pocket not quite able to get that one as he's now in the corner there. Up, Cosmo Buster steals it away on the 50. The Real Seb is there. Doesn't play it very well, and Cosmo Buster's going to punish him with the goal and the equalizer. The Real Seb misplaying it down in the corner right about there. Just sets up Cosmo Buster for a clean shot and a tie game.
Going in and playing some hockey right now. You know hockey, Fish?
You know, it's getting towards summertime, and Ace Pocket has a feeling it's hockey time as the ice starts to melt. Crazy thing about this puck, it doesn't fly as well as the ball does, so you're not going to see many aerial plays, but Ace Pocket just sort of powers it into the goal.
It's just a little bit funny, but it's right above the goal. Look out for a follow-up coming here from Cosbuster. Off to the left side, Ace Pocket is right there. A demo on the Full Sail. Now Seacro's going to find the second goal for the Broncos.
Yeah, great job there. The demo coming out from Cosbuster takes out Mastema, and just LC Carl puts it in the back of the net. Maxima forced to make a huge save there. Cosmobuster going to keep it alive. Ace Pocket not going to use that full boost, but who needs it? Cosmobuster ensures it goes in, and Boise State's up 3.
Yeah, now I might need to just see this one more time. You see Jenga right there, but didn't necessarily, might have been trying to reverse into that shot there, but wait. Yeah, now I might need to just see this one more time. You see Jenga right there, but didn't necessarily, might have been trying to reverse into that shot there, but wait. Now I might need to just see this one more time. You see Jenga right there, but didn't necessarily, might have been trying to reverse into that shot there, but wait. Yeah, now I might need to just see this one more time. You see. Sports Broadcast. I'm still your host, Jacob Jim Mountain Palmer, still joined by Michael Fish Fisher. And Fish, now we go into the Hearthstone matchup tonight, Boise State versus UCLA. And I just got to say, I do believe this is our first broadcast since the Ashes of Outland expansion has released. And I just want to say, when we were looking over the cards before this expansion dropped, we were saying Demon Hunter might be a little bit powerful. Yeah, about that.
It's possible to be so wrong, but so right at the same time, because Demon Hunter was overpowered. We were just wrong in the slightly version, so it's probably a good thing we waited this long to pick up Hearthstone again, because I think we've now had 2 separate nerfs of Demon Hunter, and they're still one of the best decks in the game. Looking through HS Replay, getting ready for this, most decks I click on, lowest win rate, Demon Hunter. Lowest win rate, Demon Hunter. So it's still a very strong class, but it's finally back down to earth. I think overall Rogue actually passed it as highest win rate. So I'll be excited to see what's going to come out, because it definitely would have been, I guess, maybe more interesting, right? Because Conquest would have been, all right, you won with Demon Hunter. How else do you get your win?
Yeah, that is the big point there. We did get the lineups from each team, which we will go over. But quick hint, both of those lineups have Demon Hunter in them, so you have that to look forward to. The main deck that everyone's been talking about, though, is Tempo Demon Hunter, which is so great in its ability to really hit the board early, and it has so many draw aspects. You know, you look at other aggro classes or decks that might go to aggro. Face Hunter is just weeping right now because Demon Hunter has all the card draw that normal Hunter could have ever hoped for.
Yeah, I know when a couple months ago Blizzard released their rundown, okay, here's the class's strengths, here's the class's weaknesses, this is what we want from our class identity. And some of them were a little off base, don't get me wrong, but for the most part, you know, Hunter, lots of face damage, low draw, we get that. I'm still waiting for what Demon Hunter's weakness is. That's what I'm really just waiting to see what it is, besides being nerfed into the ground. That really seems to be Demon Hunter's only weakness is patch notes.
Yeah, I mean, it's an aggro class, but it has the card draw to sustain itself. It attacks a lot with face, but it has lifesteal to also sustain themselves. And it turns out, in fact, that it isn't a class where their late game cards aren't bad. With stuff like Priestess of Fury, they've got great early game, they've got great mid game, they've got great end game too. So it really is kind of a question whether on what Demon Hunter's weakness is. We have a question coming through here. Is Demon Hunter worse than Odd Paladin? I would say pre-nerf, oh yes, absolutely. After the expansion first dropped, the first couple of days, the Demon Hunter Tempo deck was reaching like 70% win rates. Its worst matchup was against itself. Okay, so, I mean, Odd Paladin really dominated the meta and the odd and even meta, but I would say you could still beat it in certain ways, Fish. I mean, Demon Hunter, when it first released, there was no way to beat it if you weren't playing it.
Yeah, you mentioned the 70% win rate, and you mentioned the fact that its worst win rate was against itself. If you factor out the 50-50 matchup, it was nearing 85% win rate in some cases against every other class. So yeah, definitely worse than Odd Paladin, because as you mentioned, I think Odd Paladin had its counters, but now after the nerfs, it's trending back down to where Odd Paladin does have that sore spot in our memory. I will say, as someone who really enjoyed playing Odd Rogue, I can't hate too much on the Odd Even meta, just because Odd Rogue had actually a really good chance against Odd Paladin. It just came down to if you hit Fan of Knives in the mulligan. So I really have to say, you're right. It's pre-nerf. Demon Hunter was the worst thing we've ever seen. Maybe dating back to Patron Warrior? That's a long time ago, but yeah, it was awful. It was awful.
Yeah, it really was something for the first couple of days. Just the outcry from the community. There was just a complete bewilderment of how the balance testing could have gone this awry, or if they were just maybe just a little bit too sided to see Illidan in the meta finally. You know, so many people before Demon Hunter released, they were saying, you know, Illidan is such a cool character in Warcraft lore, and he has such a weak card. Can you make him powerful? Well, be careful what you wish for, I suppose.
Yeah, I will say I am still a little bit upset as someone who has dabbled in the Warcraft universe from time to time. Little upset Death Knight and Monk got just passed on right by for Demon Hunter, but I understand Illidan. He is such an iconic character, bringing him back. And I will say there was one other change that doesn't have any impact on tonight's game, but it has an impact on players like you and I, Jim Mountain. That's the new ranking system, where they kind of went with the League of Legends, Overwatch, where there's different tiers, bronze, iron, silver, diamond, all the way, and then you get to Legends. So 22 days in, what are your thoughts on the new ladder system?
Well, I like it pretty good. Before the ladder system came on, I did hit Legend, but I normally, after I hit Legend, I was like, okay, I made that achievement, now I can relax just a little bit. So I usually hunt around rank 5, and right now, if you hang around rank 5, then the way the system is designed is like it tries to kind of keep you at your current rank that you are, because it gives you star bonuses. Every rank has 3 stars, and normally you get a star if you win, you lose a star if you lose. But based on what you had in the previous season, you could get like 10 stars if you win when you're down in bronze, and then it kind of evens out as you get all the way through. So like I was rank 5 and above, this season I've reached platinum. Diamond 3, excuse me. So it'll keep you around, that kind of top 5 rank. For players who are in rank 5 to Legend, it'll be easy for them to keep maintaining that rank. But I think it's interesting. I kind of like it a little better because people already have an idea, you're a bronze tier player, you're a silver, you're gold, so it kind of brings that over to makes it all a little bit more even. And they've also made it that the rewards you get are better. At the end, you can get like 3 packs at the end of the month if you perform well in ranked. So I like it. It's for returning players, it's good. For new players, it does make it harder for them to climb up, though.
Yeah, for new players, that was my one worry. Is the first maybe the first couple days of the monthly reset are just going to be an absolute nightmare because, as you mentioned, everyone's going to get set back to bronze, but they do have the sort of star bonuses to keep them there for limited amounts of time. But your first game could be against a guy who's coming off a freshly top 200 Legend finish, and you were just, bronze 5, and you guys ended up playing each other. He'll win and get 10 stars. So the new player experience, as you mentioned, I'm a little bit curious about. Hopefully there are some MMR hidden in the background things that make it so if you are bronze 5, you don't have to play against a guy from Legend on the first reset day. But I am a big fan of it. It is taking me a little bit to adjust to the new tiers now, because before I'm like, okay, hey, that guy on my friends list, Sea Giant, I know exactly what rank is, and now I'm like, what is he? I have no idea. I will say my one complaint, Silver and Platinum look a lot alike. Somebody at Blizzard might have been colorblind when they put those in. Because I'm like, is he Silver? Wasn't he just dying? How did he get to Platinum? So it's a little confusing.
Well, to answer your question, Fish, I do believe that there is MMR behind the scenes, keeping matches still balanced. So you could still be in bronze tier, but your MMR will carry over. And you do notice that if you're playing ranked matches now, it doesn't show the rank of your opponent, interestingly enough. You would be able to see, my opponent's rank 3, rank 4, but now it doesn't even show that. So that leads me to believe even more that it is more kind of behind the scenes MMR that is determining that you get fair and even matches every time you play. But an interesting change nonetheless. I am glad to finally have the precious metal system in Hearthstone, just because I always liked the way that it sounded. It brings it in line with Legends of Runeterra, actually, who also use the same, bronze, silver, gold, and upwards of that. So, interesting changes. I think even more better changes have been the no duplicates rule. We can see right here. Let's take a look at the lineups. It looks like for Boise State, we are going to have Highlander Mage, Highlander Hunter, Tempo Demon Hunter, and Galakron Secret Rogue was banned out. In terms of UCLA, Tempo Demon Hunter, Highlander Hunter was their one that was banned out, followed by Steph Galakron Rogue, and Egg Warrior, which is a new and upcoming deck that not a lot of people have seen, but I am sure excited to see how that deck performs.
Yeah, I'm very curious behind Boise State's decision to ban away the Highlander Hunter. Galakron Rogue is sort of the deck that has started to overtake Demon Hunter. You could see the respect it has with it being banned away from Boise State's side. So I am curious why Boise State didn't decide to mirror that ban. That is the one thing that I'm noticing. Because Hunter's the third on that list. You either ban Rogue or you ban Demon Hunter. Maybe they just forgot to tell them they wanted to ban the Demon part, because Highlander Hunter as a ban to me seems a little concerning for Boise State's side.
Well, the thing to remember is that the Galakron decks, the Galakron Rogue decks that are out right now, especially Galakron Secret Rogue, are getting a reputation as one of the hardest decks to pilot in this current meta. You have to juggle a lot of different variables, a lot of different decisions to play your cards, and it really punishes you severely if you misplay it. I was talking to one of the Boise State players before the match. It is to the levels, I think you remember, Fish, in the previous meta, I think last year, when Combo Priest was such a big deck. That was a deck that was notorious for being hard to juggle. Powerful if you played it right, but hard to juggle and hard to master, and so Galakrond Rogue fits into that as well. So it's another thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, you do make a good point there. Rogue, always outside of the odd rogue and some maybe the meme rogues. Rogue has always been the hardest deck to really combat it. A Miracle Rogue back in the day, knowing how to draw with your Auctioneers, knowing how to not mill yourself. So if it is a skilled Rogue player who maybe has Pirate Valera, the 1,000-win Rogue, I would definitely believe in them, but you do make a good point there. But then that would say, why didn't you ban Demon Hunter? Demon Hunter is still a strong deck, so I would be curious to see Boise State's logic behind banning the Highlander Hunter, because they're bringing it themselves. So worst case, you get a 50-50 matchup. So I am a little confused banning the Hunter. I am excited to see this Egg Warrior, as you talked about, one of these up-and-coming decks. And for Boise State, I know you're excited, Jim Mountain, because Highlander means that Zephyrus might be involved. And let's just say you have an interesting history with Zephyrus on these streams sometimes.
Zephyrus can give really good options, sometimes not so good options, as we have seen in cases dealing with growths that are wild. But overall, yes, it can give really great options. It makes every game. It's such a good, literally get out of jail free card. I am looking at the matchups right now just to take a look at what I'm curious is the matchup between Highlander Mage and Highlander Hunter, because Highlander Mage is really the only variable that Boise State has in their lineup, and I'm thinking maybe, okay, Highlander Mage's win rate against Highlander Hunter is 33%, so that's very, very low. So that gives me an idea of, if we were looking at the full spreadsheet here as Boise State was doing, they saw that extremely low win rate. They know that they have to get at least one good matchup with Highlander Mage because we are playing Conquest, so that tells me a little bit more about their strategy.
Yeah, that does make sense. You do bring up a good point. As I was actually looking at that myself. Different websites, of course, different numbers. I'm at 36 win rate for Boise State on the Highlander Mage, but all the same now, I am curious to see. I still just, like I said, for the bad taste I've got in my mouth from Demon Hunter, it's 41% against Tempo Demon Hunter for the Mage. I'd boot the 6% and get rid of Demon Hunter because I just feel it's a bit more aggro-y. Highlander Hunter is a tad bit slower than Demon Hunter and a tad bit slower than the traditional Face Hunters. So I would maybe ban that away, but I do understand that you do bring a good up point there with Boise State saying that might be one of the hardest decks for us to beat as Highlander Mage, so we just want to get it out of the way. And so going off the decks, what would you play first for Boise State, Jim Mountain? Do you play the Highlander Mage that maybe might have the hardest chance winning, or do you go with something like Demon Hunter where you get the first win out of the way?
Oh, I'm looking at the win rates right now. Highlander Hunter has basically, the hard thing to really take into account is the Egg Warrior from UCLA, because it is kind of one of those more sleeper decks that is out there. Looking at the matchups for Egg Warrior right now, there isn't even enough data for Highlander Hunter against Egg Warrior, so it makes it a lot harder to kind of decide what you want to play first. The thing that they need to keep in mind is, do we play Highlander Mage right now? I don't know if I can answer your question, Fish, of which one I would play first, but one of the factors that Boise State is thinking about right now is we've got to find the right time to play Highlander Mage. That's because it has such a bad matchup against Tempo Demon Hunter, against Highlander Hunter. The really only good matchup it could have theoretically would be against Egg Warrior.
Yeah, that Egg Warrior, as you mentioned, is that one sort of outlier. As you mentioned, it is very low on the data charts. I did see that the two Hunter decks it has played a decent against, Dragon Hunter and Face Hunter, which Dragon Hunter, maybe the closest similarity to Highlander Hunter, still a bit more aggro. Egg Warrior's winning at least 55% of the time, if not higher. So doesn't sound like it's the greatest matchup, but Highlander Hunter does have that sort of unique control-y-ish, I guess you could say, style. It's still, it's as control-y as Hunter could be. I guess I'll put it that way. So yeah, I guess for UCLA's side, that's going to be the other thing as we hop right in here. I was curious when they would play it, and it looks like they might have actually started with the Egg Warrior.
Yeah, okay. So this is going to be very interesting to see how this comes up. You see the Ankar is being used to give UCLA a little bit more card draw. What you're going to want to look out for in this Egg Warrior deck, which is kind of so new right now, is the Death Rattle ability. Egg Warrior really thrives on using the Serpent Egg, triggering the Death Rattle with the new legendary that they have that destroys all your minions, and then bringing them back with 1/1 so you get even more value off of that. For Tempo Demon Hunter, I would say, Fish, is we just gotta watch to the curve and the pressure that it's applying, because that's really what Tempo Demon Hunter does best.
Yeah, and you already can say just 3 turns in that that is not what Boise State wants to see. Turn 4 for Demon Hunter, you're already going to be behind a minion, assuming that UCLA is able to play something here, and you don't really have anything you can play. You want to save Kane for when you can maybe get some crazy finishers there or something to finish this game off. So for Boise State, this is just Demon Hunter right now. There is no tempo in their hand, unfortunately.
Yeah, now the interesting thing, they have a few decisions, and one of them I gotta say is the Imprisoned Anaten. We saw that fall out of the meta once Sacrificial Pack became really popular, then it was nerfed, so that's allowing kind of these bigger demons to come back into the Demon Hunter decks. That can really swing the game. The problem is that it runs into the same problem that, say, Luna's Pocket Sea Galaxy ran, in that it does nothing when you play it, but the payoff later is so great. So can you find a good turn when you're not being pressured down for lethal to play it?
Yeah, that is the problem. That is sort of what I'm taking away, is there is no tempo right now. That is very lucky for Boise State, drawing something that can curve out, but also the weapon's not bad, because that 5-6 is going to be a pain for Boise State to deal with. It's going to keep pressuring them. Yeah, Boise State, it just feels like there is no tempo right now. There is nothing they can do besides try and get back on the board, and that's not how you're going to win games when you bring a tempo deck. That is the recipe for disaster with a tempo deck.
Now, the problem that I saw right here is them using the Felfin to get control of the board. And yes, that does clear the board, but it gives UCLA board advantage. What I might have been thinking is using the 2 twin slices, or they might have already had the second slice there, so that messes it up. But if they did have the twin slice, what I would have done is play the 2 twin slices, play the coin that gives you 5 mana, then you're able to put the 7/4 down, destroy their minion, now you have a big body on board. But yeah, Boise State right now is finding themselves in a tough place because they're not doing what Demon Hunter is meant to do, which is to get the momentum, have a board that your opponent can't deal with, and go in for lethal.
Yeah, and you know, if someone's just joining us and trying to figure out what tempo Demon Hunter means, tempo is just decks that they're always in control. When you end your turn, your opponent has to answer to a minion or something. That's not what Boise State has, and they really don't have a great way to do it. Yeah, they do have the 6/4 in their hands, but outside of that, they don't have the coin. Kane's not a great card either to just throw down by himself because he allows you to ignore taunts. So for Boise State, I think that right now this tempo's all on the side. This is almost just tempo warrior, really. You see the egg coming out, the namesake, but this is just the warrior putting down pressure that Boise State just doesn't have an answer for right now.
The good news is that the Ankar is gone, so that's a lot of card draw gone. And they now have the 5-mana. I don't know if I would necessarily do that. Card draw is great, but that 5-mana 7/4 would be so great in dealing with that 2/4. That thing can get so out of control if you don't let it. It gains attack so fast that they might want to be using Kane with it. I'm just not sure, but I maybe you're seeing a different play here, Fish, but that 5-mana just seems so perfect for this turn right now.
Yeah, the 5-mana does seem perfect. Yeah, Kane is just... his effect really makes it so you want to use him in sort of those finishing moves to get around taunts. I almost don't hate playing the Outcast card that they just drew, though, and just loading up on the board with the 4-mana card just to be able to establish board. They'll still get it out of the way because Frothing Berserker can only get out of control if the warrior has stuff like Whirlwind, stuff like, you know, the old Deathbite, the ability to do damage to the board in little chips. Not having a weapon like that, maybe having Whirlwind, but it's very low value, to me meant it wasn't as crazy as we were used to seeing it, especially now because it would always have 4 health or less. It's not easily buffed, especially with 1 Rampage being out of the way.
Now, Boise State really needs to decide here if this is the turn that they want to play the 6 mana. Right now, you see the warrior is loading up on the board, and this might be something that Boise State has to answer to. Problem is that Demon Hunter, at least in this build of the deck, I don't know how great it can deal with a wide board like this, mainly because at this point of the game, it's the deck that's built up the wide board instead. So I don't necessarily think you can play the 6 mana right now because it's too delayed of an effect, but of course the question is, when do you play it? Now, another option I gotta say, Fish, is the 2 Outcast cards. They can draw 2 cards with that and build up their own board.
Yeah, now they did have to... The one problem with your strategy, Jim Mountain, is they had to make sure the card they drew was was 4 mana or less, because they outcast only activates it to the furthest most left or furthest most right card in your hand, one of the new keywords. They couldn't just throw them down back to back. I've made that mistake where I'm like, hey, let's just throw these 2 cards, and I'm like, oh, I drew a card there. That card was useless.
Yeah.
So they are able to get the Warblades there to activate that. That was the play I was going for. I think card draw is great. And you're talking about how to deal with a wide board. That is the card in Demon Hunter that I think people are a little shocked hasn't been nerfed harder. The priest there, the priestess that does 6 damage at the end of your turn, almost a better version of Avenging Wrath. That'll easily take care of the board. That is an instant play on 7. I know in these competitive tournaments you'll see players rope because they're like, oh, is this the better play? What's the mathematically superior play? You just throw down the priestess and end your turn because there's nothing else in Boise State's hand that could even top that.
Yeah, now the problem is I do believe it's the Terran Gorfane, one of the new legendaries that comes out. Destroys all your minions, Death Rattle, bring them all back with +1/+1. You can obviously see how that would benefit an egg deck right now. But even this wide deck, all those 1/2s turn into 2/3s, the 2/2 turns into a 3/3. That is a really big, beefy board that makes it a lot harder for the Priestess of Fury to get the mileage you need out of the Priestess of Fury. So Boise State really has to be cautious of that coming down this turn.
Yeah, and it is something you have to be wary of. It does sort of lend me to wonder why Blizzard banned away the neutral silence at Spellbreaker Hall of Faming it, because of, I guess they could add these powerful cards. There's the second Rampage, so Boise State knows that that's going to be taken care of. They are going to, unfortunately, just what a turn for the UCLA Warrior. I think now it has to be the Priestess, and you just kind of got to hope it hits the right targets, because you don't have much else left out. The Skull of Gul'dan is nice, but with the recent nerf to 5 mana, I don't think you can afford to really just have 1 mana left.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some of the cards you could draw off a Skull of Gul'dan. You could draw I-Beam, which would be really nice, because that gives you the healing and some additional board clear. That's what Boise State has to think of right now, is what could they draw off the Skull of Gul'dan? Or in your case, Fish, is it better to just play Priestess?
Yeah, looking at it here, it looks like 14 health sitting on the board if you take out one of the 2/2s with your weapon for Boise State. So the Priestess you could hope would at least get 1 elimination, but there's the Skull of Gul'dan that we've talked about.
That is not bad. Oh! But
that's not bad.
That is going to clear a lot of the board, actually. That is not bad.
Yeah, the Boise State. Oh, that is also huge. This is why people hate Demon Hunter, because it just can do crazy things like this. The board gonna be, I think there'll be 1 health left on the 2 serpents if my math is correct. Yes. Okay, there'll be 1 health left on the 2 serpents. But yeah, that was an incredible draw. Boise State, really that last card, if it had not been either I-Beam or what they drew, they probably would have lost.
Yeah, that, like you said, that's the reason why so many people dislike Demon Hunter, is cards like Skull of Gul'dan, with not only their drawing, but their discount, enable so many crazy combos to be performed. So Boise State definitely doing the right decision there by playing the Skull, and it totally worked out for them. Now, what do you see for this next turn coming through, Fish?
For UCLA's side, this is the part that gets me, is how do you now want to play it? They can do 8 damage to face. They can put Boise State at 12. That doesn't feel great. You also get the Lackey, plus you have 2 cards in hand. But I don't think you win this game by trying to control the board, because now you've lost your board. You can't really easily build it up for the Terran Gorfane that you talked about. This might be you clear off the 4-2 for Boise State, see what Lackey you get, and potentially go face, because, yeah, right now, the Warriors lost all tempo, and we've talked about it, Demon Hunter can just easily turn the board, because now Priestess probably clears whatever the Warrior plays and then some.
Yeah, we see actually some roping here, which is going to, the timer actually goes out, so I don't quite know what happened there for UCLA. A little bit of a communication mishap, but maybe even a connection mishap. I'm not sure, but Boise State is still just going to play anyway. Use the Priestess of Fury pile. Waiting for the player to reconnect. So it looks like we had a bit of a disconnect there.
Yeah, it did look like we had a bit of a disconnect, unfortunately, from the side of UCLA. I am curious. Why did Boise State... Does the Priestess of Fury, it hits face, doesn't it, actually?
It hits
it only
all
hit...
enemies, yes.
Okay. The wording with Blizzard's very inconsistent. I've tried to avoid Demon Hunter because I don't like being that player. You know, I don't want to be the guy who spams the flavor of the month, so my Demon Hunter knowledge is limited to what they've done to me. But I was curious there why they're clearing off the 1/1s. That's why, though. And I think, unfortunately for UCLA, I don't know what they had in their hand. They're not playing a crazy card, so I don't know how bad the disconnect actually hurt them. It does feel bad. It is really unfortunate for the UCLA side, but I have to say I don't know if that would have saved them at all, even if they would have been able to play out that turn.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they want to do a different match, or if they just looked at their hand and said there was nothing we could have played anyway, so we're just going to give it to them. But overall, Fish, I just got to say, that represents why Demon Hunter, specifically Skull of Gul'dan, can be such a crazy card.
Yeah, there's a reason it was already nerfed, potentially with a nerf sitting in the hopper when it was released, because that was, I think, like a 27-hour nerf. It was something just completely unprecedented. I mean, we talked about Odd Paladin. We haven't seen nerfs this fast in a long, really ever, I don't think, besides a card that was just not working properly. So, very shocked on that one. I'll be curious to see if UCLA will accept their loss. I don't know if there's many cards in the deck, just doing a quick scroll through of the Egg Warrior lists I've seen online that they could have really won with. So, I will say, though, for Boise State, almost a given that you'd win with Demon Hunter in the current meta. It's really not the hard part getting a win with Demon Hunter. I like the strategy of UCLA of, we know we can win with Demon Hunter, let's just play it last as sort of our finisher, because we've seen some times where Boise State's gone up 2-0 and then they can't get that win with that third deck. So I don't hate saving Demon Hunter if I am UCLA, maybe even using it when you are down 2-0 to sort of get things back in your favor.
I mean, it's sort of like if I were to make a comparison to, say, Overwatch, sometimes you do go into engagements knowing that, okay, we're most likely not going to win this one, but we're planning for the engagement later on because we want to save up our ultimate so that we do get a win when it really counts. And now, in this scenario, that might have been what UCLA was thinking is, hey, if the Demon Hunter goes up, we're probably going to lose to it anyway, but we'll just bite the bullet now so that we can get the good matchups that we're looking for with our decks to ultimately get the victory.
Yeah. And I see the question down there. You know what? My tinfoil hat's right above me. I could go grab it if you really wanted it to. I think the Demon Hunter nerfs were pre-planned. It just, we've never seen that fast of a reaction by the Blizzard development team. We've never seen it come out that quickly. And also it was sort of weird where they're like, hey, for a couple of days, it's just going to be a red mana card as if something's been increased because we can't get the patch out. That to me sounds like they were ready to press it just on the off chance Demon Hunter was OP. I'm full tinfoil hatting Demon Hunter. I think it was released OP to get Hearthstone back in the conversation of card games. You mentioned Legends of Runeterra, taking some of that away. I know Magic Gathering also is an online card game. They've sort of dabbled in that. I think Demon Hunter 100% was planned to be this strong, and now they've got us roped in, and they'll make it a little relaxed so everyone can enjoy their favorite class.
All right, it's time for one of my favorite decks of Hearthstone, period. I love Highlander Mage because it is such a great deck where you're generating so many different cards. Each game feels different, but it is a control deck, and they are going up against Egg Warrior again. And we saw how fast that Egg Warrior can build up its board. That's something that Boise State has to be a little bit concerned about.
Yeah, but it is Mage. It is the class with tons of board clears. You see Flame Strike there, and you see Arcane Breath, Discover a Spell. I mean, if there's a deck that needs to generate a ton of board clears, it's Mage. Now, you are sort of trying to hope for the high rolls, like the Flame Strike, like the Blizzard, so that is something you've got to rely on. Very shocked Boise State actually kept what they had in their hand there. I did take a quick peek at the matchup from the limited games, as you mentioned, Egg Warrior, a newer deck. It is about 50-50. Egg Warrior actually the slight disadvantage, so Boise State the slight favorite. It's about 50.6 to 49.4, so a pure 50-50, but if Egg Warrior goes as quick as last time, I don't know how Boise State keeps up, especially with the hand they kept. Very, very shocked they kept Flame Strike and Arcane Intellect.
Yeah, I mean, Flame Strike is great once they get to turn 7. The question is if they get to turn 7, and that is a great draw for Boise State. I was about to say that Arcane Breath becomes a lot less useful when you do not have the dragon in hand to discover the extra spell. They're not going to use it, though. They're just going to ping that 1-2 with their hero power and move on.
Yeah, that dragon, like I was actually about to make the same point. Arcane Breath, you have to have the dragon. Now, the Bone Wraith is great because it's going to have the Reborn. It's going to be able to allow Boise State to absorb quite a bit of health from the Warrior. But yeah, this is where you kind of wish you could be a Druid and you could Wild Growth, you could Nourish your way. Because if you see double Rampage on the first 7 turns for UCLA, I don't know how you can stall out long enough if you're Boise State.
Now, Ray of Frost is a great draw because freezing the board and stalling out is something that Mage really depends on in Highlander Mage to get to those later turns where the plays become really crazy.
That was a really quick pick by Boise State. That's not something you really ever see, because even if it is an obvious choice, you want to delay so your opponent doesn't think they got the obvious choice. And I know that Tomb of Intellect, not something you'd pick, that's just more RNG, but the Frostbolt, it looked as like what they passed up. It's kind of shocked, but I do think Boise State's trying to generate enough damage to go for some sort of 2-turn combo.
Yeah, I would think... Now that's an interesting. Sky Raider unfortunately gave UCLA a higher mana pirate and at least kind of more pirate aggro decks, or this kind of just more hybrid aggro deck that Egg Warrior is turning out to be. You really do kind of want those lower cost pirates so that you can flood the board. So Mage really isn't concerned. I don't think Boise State was really concerned about that Death Rattle sending something back to their hand. Just with the thing of Mage is really just trying to stall things out right now.
Well, actually, Boise State would love that Death Rattle if it could trigger on their Bone Wraith, because then they get another Reborn Bone Wraith. They wouldn't just have to deal with really a effective 2/6 is what it is with the coming back from 1 life. So Boise State actually would love that to hit their Bone Wraith. I don't quite see how unless you wasted both Rays of Frost on that, and I don't think that's a possibility. You can't ping it down because it has 2 health. So I don't think it'll end up working out, but yeah, if Boise State could somehow get that to hit their Bone Wraith, they love that because, as you mentioned, it's an aggro deck, and there's nothing more that aggro hates than a Reborn minion.
Well, talking about aggro, look at that sucker that just came down. A 6/8 on turn 4 with Rush. Talk about power creep, bitch.
Yeah, now Boise State can sort of stall it out for 2 turns. Ray of Frost, the Echo ability, or you could burn the Fireball if you really want to, but I don't think you pick a Fireball that quickly and then burn it on a 6/6. So I think a better idea here might be just Ray of Frost it, then Ray of Frost it again, maybe ping it each turn so it eventually would die to Flame Strike on turn 7, but yeah, I don't think you just Fireball right here. That to me seems too strange that you quick pick a Fireball just to blow it on removal on the turn later.
Well, it does look like they're really considering drawing 2 cards, which they are going to do with Arcane Intellect, Twilight Drake, and Arcane Amplifier. It's always good to put another dragon just to make sure that those dragon synergies are always working, and they are not going to freeze the 4/2. They're fine with taking that face damage.
Yeah, you just freeze the 6/6 the next turn. I don't have a problem with that. Now, the only thing is, by missing the ping, you can't kill it with Flame Strike on turn 7 unless you play your Arcane Amplifier next turn and then ping it down to a 6/3. So that is something that I don't know if it'll come back to cost Boise State, because if you're a Mage, you set up against these sort of flood the board decks for a huge Flame Strike value. Right now, your Flame Strike would just leave it as a 6/1, and clearly Boise State's shown that's not 6 damage they want to take to the face.
Well, right now, what would you say UCLA's biggest priority is? Because they know that the Flame Strike is something that Boise State likely has.
Yeah, but I think as someone who likes to play more aggro tempo decks, you can never play fully considering your opponent has Flame Strike and wait out and say, oh, they might have Flame Strike, so I gotta save it. They might have Flame Strike, so they gotta save it. I do think there is something of putting as much pressure as you can on Boise State, and that's a great way to do it, actually, by buffing a weapon, making it the 3 for the... Not only will you generate the extra lackeys, but Flame Strike can't remove weapons. So I do like that, but I don't think they should hesitate playing minions and just assume they're going to see Flame Strike on 7.
Yeah, that's a really good point. There is a little bit of a balancing game in that you don't want to play your whole hand and then it gets cleared, because that's the ultimate wish of a control deck. Now, looking at what Boise State has, it really can't be underestimated the shenanigans that UCLA might be able to pull with their lackeys, because those lackeys can discover you extra spells, can get you a high roll with the witchy lackey. Boise State really needs to think whether they want to continue that strategy of trying to set up maybe for a Flame Strike, or maybe playing the Dragon down and removing the 4-2, although that does go back to their hand. What are you looking at, Fish?
You know, I'm curious because, yeah, if you're setting up for the Flame Strike, you've got to do it this turn with the Ray of Frost and the Arcane Amplifier, but it seems like UCLA is totally willing to accept that Boise has the Flame Strike in hand and find creative ways to pressure it down. So it looks like Boise State actually is going to just fully commit the Fireball. That I don't like, though. Maybe it'll come back in the end, but why not just play the Ice Barrier there and basically just gain 8 armor? Why waste the Ray of Frost when you could potentially lose when you need that freeze later on?
Yeah, that's a great point, actually, in that the 4 damage isn't necessarily the most threatening thing Boise State could go up against right now. That 8 damage, that secret would have worked out wonderfully for them here, basically negating all of that attack. That is a great, that's a great observation.
The card to it would heal off any damage as well. Why are you scared of being rushed down by anything that isn't Demon Hunter?
That is true. Demon Hunter will find that damage for face, but Warrior, this deck, from what I've seen, depends on building up a big board first and then going in for the kill. Right now, UCLA is just biding their time. They've got 6 mana to play with. They might attack just to see, which I think they did, just seeing what lackeys they'll get, because those can really impact your strategy.
Yeah, I definitely. Well, there's a Serpent Egg. We'll see if there's. Oh, that's not what Boise State wants to see, because now that's not a pretty Flame Strike, of course, because if you Flame Strike, then it just brings the Serpents back, which is also, by the way, something that always bugs me. How can the rope be just sitting there and they can keep playing? I really do think, I know it's, you know, client side versus client side. You see something different that they might not see, but I always did get annoyed when a guy keeps playing even when the rope's basically expired. So Boise State has to find a way to clear both Serpents, hope that UCLA doesn't have Terran Gorfine, and then they can Flame Strike the next turn. And
this is what you were saying here. This is just what you were saying of it would be nice to have that freeze available now.
Yeah, I mean, even now, I don't think the freeze is necessary, but I think the problem is Boise State is very scared of setting up a Serpent into a Terran Gorfine turn. The only problem is, if Terran Gorfine goes off, then the Serpents come back. So, it's a very tricky turn. I think if Terran Gorfine comes down, Boise State effectively loses, because you'd have 3/5 Serpents and then eggs that summon more Serpents. So there's just not a great play around here for Boise State. And you look at their hand, and they just don't have much. They've kind of just got to pray for huge value off Alex Straza at this point.
Yeah, they need to find some sort of way to survive to their power turns later on in the game. This is Highlander Mage's worst nightmare, is just being rushed down with damage before you can get to those pivotal swing turns. And, you know, Egg Warrior really is kind of a brilliant counterplay to the Flame Strike. You see this so many often with cards like Soul of the Forest or Soul of the Murloc even. It just really makes those big board clears a nightmare to... it really counters them, because you still have a big board after the other team has spent all the mana clearing the board.
Yeah, now the one thing for Boise State is if they can find a way to clear these Serpents, not only does the name basically cease to exist for Egg Warrior, so does most of their high-value death rattles with Terran Gorfine. So, it really, to me, feels like Egg Warrior is a deck really that's based around high-rolling Serpent Eggs and Terran Gorfine and then creating more Serpents. So, if Boise State can find a way to clear this board, I don't hate it for them in the future, especially with the card to it. Surprised they didn't push that in. Oh, that sheep is huge.
Yeah, that's pretty darn good.
Looking at the deck list I see online, I think you just sheep one of the Serpents. I honestly do. I think you sheep one of the Serpents, and then I think you really feel comfortable with really whatever your next play is.
They would have 4 mana after that, so
Actually,
they could play the Scale Rider again.
Yeah, I was going to say, Scale Rider the 2/2 egg, then you can bump your Twilight Drake into the Serpent that spawns, killing it, then polymorph the other Serpent, and I think Warrior's game plan immediately goes out the window.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the play right here. We'll see if they indeed go with it. Yeah, they're thinking of it. I think they'll go for it.
Yeah, I think once you get rid of the eggs, as you mentioned, this is a newer deck. I haven't personally run into it, but I do have the HS replay stats up on my other monitor, and just looking at the deck list that I see, I don't see many other big threats besides sort of a Serpent Terran Gorfing combo. I don't know how the Warrior wins this one now. There is a Kor'kron in the deck, so they do have that going in the rush strategy, but now Boise State with the Ice Barrier and the Cards with Defender, they've got to feel really good that they should be able to just sort of grind this game down.
Yeah, now they've kind of broken over that hump of not having to worry about a big board to deal with. They can use things like the Flame Strike with a lot less concern. But the thing I have to wonder about UCLA is that we're seeing a lot of roping from them. In that last turn, they only spent the 1 mana on the Lackey, so I have to wonder what's going on with them communication-wise.
Yeah, we did see a disconnect from them last game. Potentially, they are running into some internet issues. Of course, that's the only downside about how we can have this social distancing video games is, when you're playing in a controlled environment, when you're playing in the Game Pants Arena, the internet's stable. We the bills are paid. We make sure everything's on the highest connection. Sometimes you go home, mom and dad trying to save out, maybe go with the cheap plan, so you don't always have the greatest connection. Okay,
that's an interesting card.
Yeah, I mean, I do like it. I know there is a strategy that some people aren't very fond of where you can actually use a Commanding Shout to basically rope. I think it's only in Wild, however. There are a couple cards you need where you can rope several turns with Wormhole Challengers and Commanding Shout. But that is an interesting card. I don't hate it. I don't love it either because it's just a 1/1. And I really just think that... I can see why Egg Warrior is popular, but it really feels like it's one low roll away, as we've seen, from basically just running out of a finishing move. Boise State now, basically, they have the effective 19 health with the Ice Barrier. Card to it should heal them, and unless there's an Owl in the Warriors deck, which I don't think it would fit in this deck list, they're basically right where they started for Boise State, and Boise State's just getting started in terms of what they can do as the Mage.
And that is really such a great break for Boise State, seeing as Highlander Mage did have some problems with win rates. Egg Warrior was really the only match where they could win with this. So now that it's working out for them is great. We'll see what happens with this Risky Skipper. Sometimes you can get some crazy combos going off with that and use it to clear the Reborns as well. Like that, right there.
Yeah, I mean, the only problem I have with this is, yeah, that's crazy. It's a 15 attack Frothing Berserker. It dies to Flame Strike. I mean, that's the...
Yeah, that's the main thing.
Warrior, from the time back with Patron Warrior to now, anytime they've tried to use Frothing Berserker, it has always run into problems with Mage because it will permanently die to Flame Strike unless you buff it. Because it's going to have 4 health, right, and you're going to have things like the Risky Skipper that bring its health lower and lower and lower. It's always going to have this struggle against Mage. I mean, you can look at Boise State's hands. They have it 4 ways to clear, 4 ways even if they wanted to just get rid of their Twilight Drake. They had 4 ways to clear it this turn. I mean, you had the Flame Strike, you had the Arcane Amplifier, so it's a great combo. It's just a terrible combo against Mage. And that's what they ran into was Mage, and really, like I said, I think once those Serpents went down, this was a Boise State win. I think it's going to take several turns for the Broncos to get there because of the style of Mage. But I think Boise State has really all but locked this game up because I just don't see how UCLA gets back in this. Leroy being banned away. I don't see an Arcanite Reaper in any deck list for Egg Warrior I've seen. They don't have that burst that we're used to for Aggro Warrior like Pirate Warrior.
Yeah, a lot of aggro decks certainly missing Leroy as a key part of their toolkit. A great thing for Boise State is not only do they have the Flame Strike, which can clear the whole board, but that Dragon Queen Alexstrasza is such an amazing reload. It's so often more than not gives you 2 huge dragons you can just slop down on the field. Or sometimes there are dragons like the new Deathwing or even old Deathwing that you can keep around just in the case of like a latch diff effort. It just opens up so many possibilities using the Dragon Queen. So I don't see necessarily how UCLA can come back from this, especially since they're using their second risky skipper right now, which takes all of their board clear out, almost all of it, if you're looking at their deck, I think.
Yeah, my one thing is I said there's no way UCLA can win this. This was my one way, was to somehow create a huge Frothing Berserker, because this is the last Frothing Berserker in their deck. Once this dies, it's game over. Now, for Boise State, I think they still easily win. Oh, never mind. I was going to say you could Flame Strike Ping Doomsayer. That's 11 mana. I think Boise State still has this, because the ice barrier is still there. That would put you to 25, so they would have to find a little bit of extra damage without doing any damage to their Frothing Berserker. Yeah, I think this is...
Yeah.
I'm trying to just think of how UCLA could win this. I'm trying to see... Oh, it's going to put them at 19. That's right. So, how do you find... Oh, 20. How do you find 5 damage without dealing a single point of damage to their Frothing Berserker? And I think both the... Well, they actually did get 3 lackeys. So there's 1 lackey left in the deck, Jim out. Or in their hand, excuse me.
Well, yeah, they still have that. They could use the lackey if it's the spell lackey to try it. They can do a little bit more damage there. What lackey did they get? That's really important. Will they be able to discover a spell with it? It doesn't necessarily look like it.
The play order here tells me it's not the spell lackey, because you would have played the spell lackey first actually to try and discover heroic strike to get the win.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's not the right. That's not what? Oh, never mind. The weapon's buffed. I forgot that.
The weapon. Yeah, the weapon's buffed.
I was like, Frost Strike wins you the game, or Frost Nova wins you the game, but I forgot the weapon was buffed. Okay, I forgot about Captain. Yeah, no, I mean, you know what? I guess
amazing job by UCLA.
Yeah, I would say, I guess you can blame me for saying there was no way Boise State could lose, but it was one big Frothing Berserker turn, and Boise State just didn't have. I mean, you get Arcane Breath there, you win. It just felt like. Unfortunately for Boise State, they just ran into one great Frothing Berserker turn.
Yeah, just one board clear short of stabilizing and winning that game. And that really is a big problem for them now, seeing this Highlander Mage doesn't have any good matchups left. So I would think going forward from this point, they might just want to try a different deck. Get the decks they know they can win with through, and then give Highlander Mage as many chances as they can. Or they could do it the other way.
Yeah, I mean... They also could say for Boise State, there was one pirate in the game that really cost them, and it was Captain Greenskin, because if it's not Greenskin, you can Frost Nova. The Ankar only puts you at 1, so unless it's a Kobold Lackey, you live that turn, and then maybe you could find some way. I mean, they were out of card to a defender, so a couple things had to go crazy right for UCLA, but that is Hearthstone, and yeah, now I definitely think it's hard for Boise State now with the Highlander Mage. Very shocked that Boise State would bring something that is so low in the win rates to a tournament like this where there's a lot of decks that counter them, but looks like they're going to run it back against Demon Hunter, which they struggled against Warrior. I don't know how they plan on winning against Demon Hunter.
I mean, the Arcane Breath and Flame Ward are great draws because those are such great counters. The problem is that you know they would really like to have a dragon in their hand right now because that's what gives Arcane Breath. The 2 damage is great, but Arcane Breath really excels when you can use it to find even more board clears. So a precarious situation, because if you were to look at this hand right now, the Scale Rider, the Flame Ward, the Arcane Breath, that's all great. You need a dragon, though, to make all that work.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about Arcane Breath is you can still use it as just a default clear just to try and get rid of something. I think the Flame Ward is huge. Yeah, I mean, looking at that hand, I mean, the only card you could get rid of would have been Arcane Intellect, but you never want to get rid of Arcane Intellect as a mage. So, yeah, Boise State, I think you have to be okay with this because you still may be... I mean, as weird as it is to say a coin Arcane Intellect on turn 2, but... Oh, that's actually... that changes everything. That changes everything. I mean, I think you Arcane Breath regardless if you drew a dragon, but that just adds to the bonus. Those are all terrible cards, actually, for this matchup. I think Icicle's actually the best choice. I think Icicle's the best because they need 2 damage. It's weird to say, but Icicle has to be the best.
Yeah, just a standard 2 damage card using for board clear. It's not the best card, but the best of what they have to work with right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can combo it with Ray of Frost if you really, really need the card draw, but with Arcane Intellect, I think you should be fine. I think the tricky part here for Boise State is when they play Flame Ward, because with the 1-mana Demon Hunter hero power, which is something else that I just don't quite understand them ever putting in the game was a 1-mana hero power, they have a lot easier way to trigger that Flame Ward and just basically sort of waste it. So that, I mean, it's a very technical thing in Hunter as well with the explosive trap, so it's got to be curious to see when they'll use that Flame Ward.
There's also another question to ask is, do you play, depending on the state of the board, do you play the Arcane Intellect this next turn? Because if something that could spiral out of control like a Battle Fiend, then that's something you would probably want to play the removal. But even then, if they coin into the Scale Rider right now, that gives them board control, which is so crucial in a matchup like this. And I'm almost interested that they didn't do that.
I mean, yeah, I guess I understand just getting the Icicle out of your hands and keeping the coin, because in Mage, I mean, we would hate to see if Demon Hunter goes wide and then they can't coin Flame Strike because they coined a Scale Rider with Icicle in hand. So, while I think it was the better play, I think against Demon Hunter, you want to set yourself up for a coin Flame Strike if possible, because that's going to be your win or lose. You can't afford to let the Demon Hunter get 1 extra turn when you wish you could have Flame Strike. So I don't have a problem with it. It is a little funky, but I think in the long run that's the right play, and that's how Highlander Mages got to play. You've always got to look 3 turns ahead. You can't just play like Demon Hunter, which is see card, place card.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just not necessarily playing for the immediate board right now, but making sure that you have the resources that you can to play those really big Sweeney cards that come on later in the game. Right now, though, just another hero power attack to face. We're going to be seeing a lot of that, I imagine, because that's just what Demon Hunter loves to do.
Yeah, and now you get the perfect Scale Rider turn here. I am curious what UCLA was debating so long about on what card they wanted to put at the top of their deck, and that's also a mechanic. That would be my other... I'm going to have several complaints about Demon Hunter during this stream because I just think it was handled really poorly by Blizzard when they released it, but it kind of annoys me that Demon Hunter got all of these new mechanics because they're, to my knowledge, the only class with specific mechanics like Outcast or cards like that that can rearrange your deck. I'm hoping we see those down the line for other classes, but it is sort of annoying that they experimented with all of these new mechanics on one class.
Now you can see the Satyr going down. That can really get out of hand. Boise State needs to decide how they want to try to clear that. The Flame Ward would actually clear that off pretty well, so it's a case of, do they just want to ignore that? Is there a way Demon Hunter can play around that necessarily, Fish? Or would the Flame Ward just guarantee wipe out the board for them?
I think the Flame Ward would guarantee wipe out the board. The only way UCLA could play around it would, I mean, I guess if you attack, it would just summon another Satyr that would die anyway. So, yeah, I don't really know if there is a way to play around it. Most Demon Hunter minions don't have high health, at least their low-cost ones don't. So, I don't know if it's early enough, though, for that Flame Ward. I really think you need to maximize the value of Flame Ward in this matchup if you're Boise State, and I don't know if 2 million, because you even have to think they might even trade one of their Satyrs into your Scale Rider as well. So I think Boise State, like I said, it's going to come down to perfect use of the Flame Ward, and I just still don't think it's enough value. But that's a problem. You can sometimes catch yourself waiting for the perfect value turn that never happens, but I don't think it's right now. Looking at those choices, I'm surprised they didn't take the 1-mana one, actually. I'm really surprised they didn't give yourself 2 1-mana spells. You could get Ray of Frost to buy yourself some extra turns. Really surprised they went with the Evasive Drake.
Yeah, I would have gone for the 5-mana one as well, just because there were so many nice 1-mana cards. Even the one that summons the 2 taunts, anything that can just kind of get you a little bit more time to get to your power turns later on. The good news is they do have the Frost, so that can buy them a turn. That's just kind of a guaranteed buy yourself an extra turn.
Yeah, I would have liked the 1 mana there, but the Evasive Drake trades decently well. Doesn't trade into Priestess of Fury. Does trade into the 6 mana card, the Dormant one, very well with your hero power.
They only have... There's your board refill for UCLA, summoning those 2 1/1s. Well, they were able to get the 5-mana one at least.
I was just say, who needs to pick it when you can draw it? It's not an awful play here. I do like the ability to try and ping down. Still don't like the Flame Ward. Yeah, I think that's just your play. See what you could get in your hand. See what you can go with next turn. If you really get something crazy, you could coin it out. I don't see that happening. Those are both huge. I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Those were the 2 spells that we were talking about that would probably be really good in this type of matchup, and they got them. So there you go. That's sometimes how Hearthstone works out for you.
Yeah, I mean, Ray of Frost is huge. Now, of course, it doesn't always stop the end-of-turn effects that Demon Hunters sometimes can play. But yeah, Ray of Frost is huge. Mirror Image also just going to buy you some turns. So great card. That's why kind of the reason I was arguing for them to pick it. But as they showed me, they could just draw it. I just look at Boise State's hands, though, and I never feel confident in their next play. There's never something where I'm like, that's a great play, just throw it down. I mean, Fireball, save that for a later minion. And that's the one thing with Arcane Intellect, is sometimes if you don't play it early, you get yourself in this thing where you're always waiting to play Arcane Intellect in the perfect spot, because draw 2 for 3 mana isn't really that great in the long-term spectrum of things.
Yeah, they already have their full hand right now, and that was something you brought up a little earlier, Fish, is, we want to try to save Flame War so we can get that great value out of it, but sometimes we're waiting so much for that great value that the opportunity never comes. Your opponent keeps pressuring you in a way that you have to keep playing other stuff. So Flame Ward might just be the best option for them now of something that they can place down. Hope that maybe UCLA just gets the minion first, puts all of their resources into the minion, and that's still a win because it's buying Boise State another turn.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically effectively healing Boise State if they put it into the minion. I do worry that playing the minion like that would open you up to clearing the Satyr, and then playing a secret might sort of telegraph that secret is Flame Ward and that you almost want them to attack. So that I am a little bit worried about. And the other thing I'm worried about is, let's say they take their Satyr, they hit that into your minion, they take one of your 1/1s and hit it into the minion, and then hero power and kill it with their weapon. Your Flame Ward's only going to hit 1 minion. Yeah, just like that. Your Flame Ward's only going to hit 1 minion. That is what I was worried about, is by putting something out there, you really just sort of wasted your Flame Ward value. I would have preferred Flame Warding and then coin Arcane Intellect to open up your hand, and then maybe throw down a mirror image just for the taunts. But yeah, I definitely think Boise State using that minion was kind of waste.
Then again, they might have just gone face if they only played the... Well, no. I'm trying to think my way through this. That Priestess of Fury, definitely not what Boise State wanted to see right there. Do they have a way to clear it? Yes, they do. Yes, the dragon would clear that. When they use the coin along with the 2 Rays of Frost, they can clear that. Or they could just use... I would rather use the dragon to just get something on board.
Yeah, I'm still confused about what... Why did UCLA just not hero power? What
they had no mana left.
No, I thought they had 1 mana for some reason. You're right, they didn't have any mana left. For some reason in my head, I thought they had 1 mana. That was just me. That was me being crazy. That was me being crazy. Yeah, that was just me being crazy. Never mind. Everything's right. You go back to telling me why you know more than me, Jim Out, because I'm like, I have 1 mana left, and then they didn't. So I'm just gonna reset next turn.
Well, here's one of the problems for Boise State is that one of their biggest heals is the card to defender, but that is so easily countered because the Demon Hunter has Kane and they can just bypass that. And Boise State being down to 14 health, I'm starting to get a little bit concerned by that. And this is just what Demon Hunter can do is like, even when Boise State is getting to these later turns where they can do some powerful plays, if Demon Hunter can just keep going face and whittling down their health anyway, then it's not going to matter.
Yeah, Boise State has to find Ice Barrier very quickly if they have it in the deck. I mean, you know you have the Ancient Mystery, so you can guarantee yourself to draw that. I think you've got to find Ice Barrier. Well, there it is. Every time, I just somehow they speak these cards into existence. Because that is a nice card to combo with your cards with Defender, because they say, oh, I'll just rush face, I have just enough, and then you get that extra heal. Then you can trade off your own card to it, really pinging it if you deem necessary. Oh, not having the coin there is... Oh, they don't have a dragon, never mind. Not having the coin there is kind of rough, but no dragon to activate that. But yeah, that is a problem, as you mentioned. Boise State, yeah, all these taunts are great. Mirror Image is great. Demon Hunter does have one card that kind of just says, taunts, now they don't exist.
Yep, they don't exist. Taunts don't exist, but charge exists as a keyword again, apparently. That's just how crazy this whole class is. Yeah. There you go, that Outcast drawing a card can be such a pain, just how much card drawing resources Demon Hunter has. You know, it really was a really bad case that they drew the Ice Barrier then, because then that 2-mana card doesn't do anything else for them. It would have been much better for their mana had they not drawn it, and then they would be able to maybe do something a little bit more, because if you look right now, they have 1 mana they weren't able to spend. They would have at least been able to use their hero power if they hadn't drawn that secret.
Yeah, that drawing that secret wasn't the best thing for the Boise State, but, you know, actually just having it also is very nice. I mean, the only problem right now is that they don't have a dragon, because if you get that power of creation down for free, I mean, I think Boise State might be able to turn the game depending on what the Demon Hunter is holding. You know they have the second slice, so you know they have 2 damage available for 1 mana with their hero power. You're sitting at 21 health. You can't be too scared of Kane. I was a bit shocked that, hey, there's the Kane coming out, actually. Like I said, I speak the cards into existence, but now Boise State, they can remove that with Fireball, and they have to feel really, really happy with that.
Yeah, or they could do Blizzard as well and just completely freeze, get rid of the Satyr as well. Kane can't attack. I mean, the Demon Hunter can... Yeah, the sheep is nice. Unfortunately, you can't use it with the Blizzard. However, yeah, it really does stink that they don't have a dragon in their hand, because then the Dragon Caster would be so useful right now. But Boise State definitely has some stall. The problem is that you can only stall against Demon Hunter for so much, because they have so many options from just dealing damage from face. And their hero power basically guarantees, if you don't have a taunt up and Kane isn't on the field, that then you're going to take a damage every single turn.
Yeah, I definitely thought the Frost Nova might have been a better play, but I don't hate that. I do wonder about pinging Kane. You don't have anything that does an extra damage. You've already played your Amplifier. It's Highlander Mage, so there's no second copy. You've already played Ray of Frost as well. Or actually, that was the Discovered Ray of Frost, excuse me. I don't understand the ping. I mean, just ping the Demon Hunter's face. I mean, you're not really gaining anything by putting Kane at 2 versus putting Kane at 3. At least in my opinion.
Okay, draw a dragon here. This actually would be very crucial for Boise State. Yes, they did! So what I'm saying is use the power of creation for free. You can also play the polymorph on Kane. That means those 2 taunts are good, and if you can get 2 more taunts off the power of creation, you've set up a great wall that the Demon Hunter can't get past.
Yeah, I almost prefer Frost Nova instead of polymorph. I prefer polymorph as sort of your last-ditch card there. Oh, that's tough. I think you gotta go with the
I would probably go
Safeguard.
Safeguard.
I would go with the Grapple
Sniper.
Yeah, I just think you want as much...
Why?
I guess I would just think you'd want as much value as possible. Now, I do understand the Safeguard. I guess, yeah, once you clear Kane, the Safeguard's a lot better. So yeah, now looking back at it, yeah, I'll agree with you. Actually, the safeguard is probably the way because they can clear Kane this turn, and I think yeah, they definitely win. Never mind. I was just thinking maybe you want more value, but Kane's gonna die this turn in some regard.
Yeah, and with yeah,
You go Hogger. Actually, you go Hogger for the yes. I was gonna say you go Hogger for the memes, but they purely went Hogger, which is that's a terrible pick. I'm sorry. Safeguard is better than Hogger in every form. He's a bigger body that has a taunt and summons a bigger taunt body.
Yeah,
but I'll take it for the memes. I'll take it for the memes if we're really going to go there.
For the meme, but this is different. I would say even all those taunts, remember the card that just got nerfed, the 4-2, which if you play an Outcast card, deals 1 damage to all minions. That's the one way that UCLA could clear this board, and if they had picked Safeguard, that wouldn't have been an option for them. Although Boise State can breathe now again. Just a little bit.
Yeah, you are correct. Now, I will say the one thing is Boise State knew that they only had 3 cards in hand, so they couldn't clear the Hoggers, and then the Hoggers would summon more taunts. That's the one That's the one upside is Hogger, if he lives through that, which I don't know how he would live over a Safeguard, but if you can find a way to keep Hogger alive, he will start to outvalue the Safeguard in the long run, summoning more and more Knolls. But I do agree that I don't think Hogger was the right pick. But you look at the Demon Hunter's hand, when is he ever going to deal 4 damage to that Hogger? He won't. Hogger's going to get multiple turns of summoning his Knoll buddies. Every WoW player knows that when there's 1 Knoll, there's really 55 Knolls, and they're all charging you with their weird monkey noises. So I think Hogger eventually is going to be part of the reason Boise State wins.
The biggest thing is I don't want to see a Skull of Gul'dan because that could really be... Okay! Oh my goodness, that is so great! I just got a recap. That is a 44% matchup against Tempo Demon Hunter, so that is great that they were able to pull out the win with the Highlander Mage. So Boise State now in a much better position. All they have to use now is their Highlander Hunter, I believe.
Yeah, they just have to use Highlander Hunter against the Stealth Galacon Rogue, excuse me, and then Tempo Demon Hunter itself. I still don't know if I'm a huge fan of Boise State's side, even though they only need the 1 win. There's Demon Hunter on the other side, which is still a great deck, and then there's the Galacon Rogue, which is, you mentioned, a very high skill deck, a very skill cap deck, but is still one of the best decks in the game. So I don't hate UCLA's position, and I also do hate Boise State for using Sylvanas. She's the worst hunter hero. I think the picture is weird. She mains a mech paladin if you listen to the AFK lore in one of the adventures. So very disappointed in Boise State's choice of hero. Not deck, but in choice of hero.
I love that Blizzard throws in that references that if you want to make some sort of character really despicable, find something that everyone hates. It's like they did with the Hagatha card that came out and they said that she mains Hanzo. So it's just such a great little, those great little jokes they throw in right now. So obviously looking at Boise State's mulligan right now, we obviously don't keep Siamat in the Grand Slam. Great thing about Stormhammer is if you get a dragon, it can be such a resource. The problem is if you're attacking a lot with your face, Demon Hunter is just it's gonna make it that much easier for them to find what they need to burn you down.
Yeah, I will say, and maybe your website says something different than mine, but quick glance to me says this is a 38% matchup for Boise State in terms of winning against the Tampa Demon. Yeah, so we thought the Mage was bad. This is even worse, and you see immediately why the Mage had the answer on turn 1. Boise State's got to wait at least 1 more turn to get an answer to that card.
The good news is that looking down the road just a little bit, looking at the matchup with... we got a question in the Chiron right here. Is Sylvanas the new Hagatha? Do you care to answer that question, Fish? Are we talking just in the general card design or the character design?
I think he's maybe even talking in the new hated card with the internal memes, and I think Sylvanas is in a league of her own. I know in the Warcraft universe, Sylvanas is the main villain of the new upcoming expansion, so I think we're definitely going to see a lot of Sylvanas. She's in a tier of her own. I mean, they should have said she made Odd Paladin if you wanted her to be hated, because I think Mech Paladin is nothing. It should have been I made Odd Paladin in Wild. I still play Odd Paladin in Wild just because I don't like people that much. That would have been much better.
You could have also said she does Res Priest, because that also would have gotten, because Res Priest were so off, like, for the huge history of Hearthstone, you know what I mean? Res Priest has just been that consistent deck that everyone hates playing against.
Really, I guess if you wanted to make her hated, you could have just said she net decks. Because everyone seems to hate net deckers for whatever reason. So they could have easily just said, she could have made her say, I net deck, but, you know what? Yeah, Sylvanas could have said, yeah, really there's several things they could have put in to make her much more annoying, but,
now, Rodnest Drake is an excellent card. The problem is, what does it hit?
Well, if it hit in the perfect world for Boise State, it hits Kane. In the worst world, it dies. And I think we're going to go with the worst world.
Yeah. No, I was saying the Rodnest Drake. That's in their hand.
Yeah, that is true as well. Yeah, what does it hit? Probably Kane. Still? Right?
Yeah, hopefully.
I mean,
and then they're ahead on board.
Yeah, and I will say, there's been terrible management of their one-mana card for UCLA. Just now buffing it. I mean, there's a reason that card was nerfed, is because it could grow and attack so well. I mean, we've seen time and time again, there's these one-mana cards. It was a 1/3, eventually tanked and down, to where it was just so strong that they had to be nerfed. So very surprised.
Come on here, come on.
No, wow.
Okay.
I mean, I guess the one thing with Kane is there's no taunts in Hunter. There's very few taunts in Hunter. So do you really care if the opponent can't hit your taunt cards?
Yeah, I mean, they have one taunt in their hand, so if they wanted to play that.
I guess that's true. But I mean, you think about it,
Grow impatient.
the crossbow's a taunt, King Kush is a taunt, Alex Strauss is an effective taunt because they're just such big threats. So I will say everything in Boise State's hands is basically a threat enough to where it has a pseudo taunt that it doesn't matter if it has taunt or not. They definitely want to be removed on the side of UCLA.
Okay, now they can't use the dragon, the dragon shot here with the combo with the hero power. Dragonbane, yeah, that's it. Yeah, and if that hits the right minion, that could be really good for them. I think they're probably going to go with that. They have two just as we're talking about, they have no taunt. They get two taunts in their hand. Okay, this is going to be another, cross your fingers here. Come on. Okay, that's not bad. That is actually really good.
Yeah, I wouldn't have hated clearing the Kane and playing both your taunts, but, worst case, it hits the 2-1 there, so luckily they'll survive that. But this is the problem with Hunter just traditionally. I mean, how do they heal? Demon Hunter's just going to go for, we're going to rush you down. I mean, how does Hunter survive just being sort of rushed down here? And I don't know if they really have an answer besides trying to rush them down themselves.
The good news is with Kane out of the way, they now know that those taunts are definitely going to prevent the advances from UCLA, so that might have been their biggest priority in playing the Dragonbane, is let's get rid of Kane and their board as well, so that we can be more confident in these taunts we play next turn.
I mean, but you also have Dino Tamer Brand coming down. I don't think there is a taunt in this game that you don't just play Dino Tamer Brand. Yeah, especially now. You play Dino Tamer Brand. That's an easy pick right there.
Yep, that's the easy pick. There you go.
Yeah, King crushes.
Line it up, and
I'm so glad King Crush found a way back in the meta, even if it meant it was a card that had to summon him. Because I love King Crush. He's just such a fun card. His entrance, by the way, one of the scariest ones.
Yeah, summoning him on 7 really kind of bumped up the power with King Crush, and it is a really fun card to use. It's not necessarily fun when you're played against, you're playing against it, but Now Boise State has a really nice board. They're forcing UCLA to get a board clear, which they can if they have the 4-2, which can do the 1 damage to every minion. That could have been another great, weakness for Demon Hunter. You know what I mean? You get a wide board. They have no wide board clears because they're supposed to do that themselves. That could have been a weakness, but no. Blizzard, of course, is going to give them a card that gives them a strength in that as well.
Yeah, and unfortunately the Metamorphosis going to come out, going to clear the King Crush. I wouldn't have hated, by the way, if they would have just gone face with the Metamorphosis. It puts Boise State at 4 life, but I think they would have eventually died. Fortunately, there's no beast going to activate that. As we talked about, that not going to lose their ability. And I think Hunter now can settle into its favorite spot. Me go face.
Yeah, me. Although you got to say, Demon Hunter eventually actually did bring truth to the, face place taunt, me still go face with Kane. So it really fulfilled that.
Quick question, not to interrupt your thought, sorry. Can you Corrosive Breath your own minion?
Corrosive Breath.
I'm just trying to see how Boise State could find lethal. And I know Corrosive Breath hits the enemy.
To a minion, yes, you could.
Okay, because I was going to say there is a strategy where if UCLA tries to play around the Corrosive Breath, it wouldn't allow Boise State to finish anything off, but they can still Corrosive Breath their own minion. I don't know if they have enough damage.
Yeah, I think you still play Alex Strasza here.
Well, if you find lethal, you don't play Alex Strasza because then the game's over.
Right,
and my math says they're 1 off. My math says they're 1 off. Yeah. Corrosive Breath is 3 damage. They're 1 off. Do they have a low-cost beast in their hand by chance? Or in their deck that they could play to activate Kill Command?
The closest thing I see is using the Desert Spear, but...
Yeah, that way you would lose too much damage, unfortunately. But now I think you still... I know we talked about it. I think you just Corrosive Breath the Satyr Overseer, and play some of your taunt minions, and you don't maybe play all of your cards to get them to 1, but I think Alex Strasza's just got to wait.
Yeah, I got to wait just a little bit more. They could also play the Siamat and get another taunt on board if they want, but they might just play their original taunts. They could also play Siamat in just a way to set up lethal with the Divine Shield Wind Fury.
Well, I think you'd want it to be a taunt, because you don't want anything crazy to happen from the Demon Hunter. I think you would just go Divine Shield. Maybe you go Divine Shield Rush, but I would think you would go Divine Shield Taunt. You can clear with the Bran. I don't know. I'm always a player who doesn't hate also pushing your opponent, all the pressure on your opponent. With Metamorphosis out of the way, I wouldn't have hated just saying, all right, we're going to put you at 1, find a way out of it. But I also don't hate to see him out with Taunt and Divine Shield.
Well, we're definitely going to find out right now, because this is the do-or-die turn for UCLA. This could be their final turn here. Using him, the question is, how much can they play? And will it make a difference? Will they be able to get rid of the Siamat? They need 7 damage.
I do have a spoiler for you, Gem Mountain. Do you want the spoiler?
Well, we'll probably see in a few seconds.
Unless the Demon Hunter can heal or has a lethal this turn, Boise State is sitting on lethal.
Warclaves of Azeroth? That still doesn't give him lethal.
They're getting closer. They're 1 off.
Oh, did they do? Oh, they're 1 off.
No, they got it. No, they got it.
Oh, no! Oh!
They got it. Wow. That's Demon Hunter for you. That is Demon Hunter for you.
Bravo, Blizzard. Bravo, you did such a good job with Demon Hunter. Such a fun class to play against. I think we need a 3rd round of nerfs.
I don't think Altruist should hit face. I mean, if Blade Flurry doesn't hit face, why does Altruist hit face? That has to be my first question. As someone who used to love the old Mill Rogue, well, why does that card work and mine doesn't? But yeah, we're on to the 5th game. Highlander Hunter versus the Stealth Galakron Rogue. Galakron's Secret Rogue is the dominating Galakron Rogue right now, but I'll be curious to see how Boise State handles what is widely considered the best deck in the game, but as you talked about, Jim Mountain, also one of the highest skill cap decks in the game.
Well, it will depend somewhat on what they get here in the opening mulligan. Drake Queen Alexstrasza isn't a keep. I wouldn't think Dragonbane is a keep either way. Animal Companion can be decent, and that's normally a keep in some mid-range hunter decks, but problem with tracking is that it's not necessarily your best turn 1 play.
Tracking is board draw for, or not board draw, card draw for hunters. That's what tracking is for. Tracking is like turn 10, you top deck it, and it allows you to draw a better card. So yeah, I think you get rid of the tracking. I think you get rid of the Alexstrasza. They're actually just going to go full sweep. I would have kept Animal Companion, but I don't hate that hand, but I don't love it either.
Desert Spear is great because it's kind of the ultimate board control, and that can deal with the 3-1. Once it's unstealth, they can use that to gain control of the board again.
Yeah, they can do that. Well, maybe. But I'm guessing if you're UCLA, you don't just use your stealth immediately. You're probably setting up for something a bit more tricky. So you probably summon your new prime minion there with the coin, or you just steady shot, which, okay, I can somewhat see it.
Because there is that card, yeah, there is the card that allows them to draw 2 with the stealth minion, which is great for a class like Rogue. Question is, do they continue to attack again, or do they just still do nothing?
I think now you attack. You were waiting, which really you could have attacked. They're saving that 3-1 for something then, because I was gonna say you could have attacked with the 3-1 last turn and you would have still had this stealth card you just played. So they definitely are holding on to that 3-1 for something a little bit tricky.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what their ultimate strategy is with Galakron Stealth Rogue. Let me just pull up a deck list here just to see, like, get a general idea of what's going on here with the Stealth Rogue.
Because
they don't necessarily have anything buffing it.
I would have been shocked maybe they ran a Cold Blood, because I was going to say the Hunter's not going to have any way to clear a Stealth minion. I mean, they're not going to be running Flare. They might not have Explosive Trap. So, I mean, that Stealth minion can be there as long as UCLA wants it to be. So I'm surprised there isn't some sort of Cold Blood shenanigans they wanted to go on with that. Now, of course, you can buff it with your lackeys, but a little shocked there's not some more shenanigans going on with that minion.
Yeah, the only thing you can really buff with your lackeys, though, is increasing its health. And then you get a 3-3 with Taunt, which isn't bad. Problem is that you've waited a long time for it to happen. They're just going to use that to get even more card draw, which this isn't a position you want Rogue to be in any time is having this many cards to play.
No, this is maybe one of the worst spots for Boise State that the Rogue could be in. Okay, that's why they were saving it. They were saving it for the Shadow Step stage. I mean, looking at the hand for Boise State, I mean, the Desert Spear can clear off the left 2 minions, but you still have 4 attack on board. Coin is useless. I don't think Maev is great in this situation. Yeah, I think you just got a Desert Spear and clear off the 1-1 and the 3-1 with your weapon and your Beetle, because I think in this matchup you're probably saving Coin for the Grand Slam.
Yeah, to get ultimate control of the board, really steer it back. The problem is that Stealth Galakron Rogue still runs Galakron. They still run Kronks. I think they also are happy to run High Spare and Togwaggle as well. So there are a lot of strategies that Rogue can use before we get to turn 9 for them to find lethal.
Yeah. I definitely... This is why this is one of the decks I was very, very worried about for Boise State.
Nobody move,
and now they're going to do that, which doesn't really actually matter. It does stop the Maev from coming down, but I mean, nothing else could even be played. Yeah, I think Boise State, unfortunately, their hand might just have been too slow to win this game. I think you have to kill command the 3-3 now to at least heal yourself a little bit. But other than that, just looking at this hand, I mean, I guess next turn, if you survive, you'll have coins Tiamat. But other than that, I mean, Boise State is really just hoping for a miracle right now.
And they were so close to wrapping up this whole series in that last match, too. It's just that they were up against Demon Hunter, which, you know, in one turn they managed to clear a 7-7 taunt with Divine Shield and find like 14 damage to go face with. I mean, it's just insane what that class is. And now they're going to lock him out for another turn. I think that is game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of what Boise State could do. I really don't see... I mean, they have to obviously draw something. This hand is not saving them. Of course, everything except for... Well, everything except for the 1 mana card is going to be unplayable. 3 of the cards are actually going to have a mana cost that's impossible to attain. Yeah, I think Boise State... I'm very shocked they mulliganed away the Dragon's Bane. That would have been something they could have used to get some board clear. The Animal Companion would have been nice as well. I really think Boise State maybe is suspected a much slower Rogue deck, which is not something you typically hear or see from Rogue. I think that's going to be what cost them in the end.
I'm going with that classic control Rogue strategy that's been a staple of the game.
I loved Kingsbane Rogue. I was a huge fan of Kingsbane Rogue. And Boise State, yeah, they're going to surrender. They knew the writing was on the wall. So UCLA going to come from behind, take this Conquest Series, this best of 5, if you will, with 3 wins. But, yeah, Boise State, it just felt like they ran into the power of Demon Hunter. And that's sort of why I talked about maybe saving your Demon Hunter, because UCLA played Demon Hunter when they couldn't afford to lose, and that won them the game. And I will say, I think Boise State, their decks are just a little too slow. I mean, Highlander Mage and Highlander Hunter in this meta, they're B-tier decks from what I can see, hovering about 52% win rate. Go with Dragon Hunter. Go with something a bit quicker, because I just think in this meta, you can't afford to run these grindy control decks, because Demon Hunter laughs in the face of your grindy control decks.
Or if they are going to run those control decks, consider banning the Demon Hunter instead. They did not ban that deck, and that really came back to bite them.
Yeah, but if you're going to run control, you've got to ban aggro, and they banned the only control deck UCLA ran in Highlander Hunter. That maybe, like you said, maybe sometimes, and I'll be honest, I think almost everyone's done it. You have access to these numbers. Highlander Hunter's a 20% win rate, or 30% win rate for our Highlander Mage. We've got to get rid of it, and you sort of trick yourself into realizing, yeah, Highlander Mage might struggle, but you just allowed 3 aggro decks up, and you're playing all control except Demon Hunter. So I definitely think Boise State could fine-tune their strategies. I mean, it's still very, very early in the expansion. We still had a couple of nerfs, so things are starting to flesh themselves out. But yeah, I think Boise State's deck list might need to go back to the drawing room floor.
I will tell you, along with Egg Warrior, speaking of fleshing things out, you know what else is rising in prominence? Murloc Paladin. It's back.
There you go. I thought you were actually going to go with our ticker down there and say that Ghost Ninja's Zoom meeting is rising in prominence. They're asking us to join in. You know, I'm okay. I've gone through enough Zoom meetings at work to know that's the last thing I want to be in is another Zoom call. I can't. That actually is starting to creep up my list of things I don't want to do on during this pandemic is be in a Zoom call. It's about here. Wait, there it is. Couple weeks, it's going to be up here and being in a Zoom meeting.
Well, and here's the thing. We see in the chat, GG's coming out from the UCLA. Sometimes Rogue is going to Rogue. Yeah, I can agree with. Although I would say sometimes Demon Hunter is going to Demon Hunter based on how they were able to win that 5th game. So that's just how it works out. I do have to say it's not just. I disagree with that, Chiron, completely. You should specifically seek out Murloc players to friend. Especially players who do Murlocs with Suranoyo. Those are going to be your best friends for life. But what I want to say, Fish, is due to your Zoom comment, it's not just that it's a Zoom meeting, but it's a Zoom meeting that some stranger is inviting you to. That's like the virtual version of someone inviting you into a dark back alley. You just don't do it.
No, I mean, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one, Jim Mountain, because in the world of video games, strangers are coming to your house every day. If I fire up Call of Duty, any game with voice chat, I'm hearing these random people. They're in my house already. I mean, I'm basically looking at them. So I have no problem with the Strangers Zoom meeting. I have the problem with the Zoom meeting itself. But hey, what? that's the joy of video games, though, is you get to talk to all these random people. One game you're playing with a dude who's somehow just down the street, and the next game you're playing with a dude from Canada. So it's a ton of fun. Yeah. It's why we love video games, and unfortunately we didn't get the win for Boise State and Hearthstone tonight, but they came very close. Big props to them for getting a win with Highlander Mage in a deck list that did not favor it. So shout out to them. They even beat Demon Hunter with it. The only problem is that Demon Hunter popped off.
Yeah. Well, and they almost had it, too. They were almost able to beat that Demon Hunter with the Highlander Hunter, which, making it as close as that with a deck that had in the 30s, that really was impressive. So they drew it out as long as they could. They made it as competitive as they could. I would say great job to both teams for performing as well, and congrats to UCLA for the win. That's going to do it for us tonight, though, but as you see on the headline there, Overwatch tomorrow, Call of Duty next. So you're always going to want to stay tuned to the Boise State Esports channel. A lot of stuff that you can watch, and you can always type in !free sub to find out how you can link your Twitch Prime account to get a free your Amazon Prime account to get a free Twitch Prime account and support everything we do here on this channel. For tonight, though, that's going to do it for us. You have a good night and stay safe.